Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Ask Me Any Stock session. Thanks for being early. I think some of you have already joined us today. Let me know, guys, just type a GM for good morning. If you guys can see and hear me loud and clear, all right? And you can see my screen as well. Let me just go to acknowledge all of you today. Let's see who is here today. Good morning as well. Hi, Rajan. Good morning. Hi, we have Chetan as well. Good morning. Hi, we have Aida. Hi, good morning as well. Jeannie, Thomas, sound okay. Thank you so much as well, Thomas. All right, thanks for joining us. Sean, Alexander. Hi, good morning. Lai Fook, Kei Hyung as well. Josephine. Good morning, Ice. All right, welcome, guys. Welcome to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. And if you have been joining us over the past few sessions, you know how this session goes, right? Every Friday, we go live, rain or shine, all right? It gets done, all right? 10:30 a.m. We'll be talking about the US stocks and even the Singapore stocks. So today we'll be back to the US market because last Friday was Singapore, right? So next Friday, all right, on the 12th of September, then it will be back to Singapore. So today, if you are looking at the US stocks, right, US market, right, any US stocks, then you are in the right place, right? You're in the right place. So very simple. What we'll do is we'll do a quick market outlook as to what is happening right now in the market. Look at some of the key indices like the S&P 500 index, right? And then we'll go ahead to cover the US stocks that you guys are asking for a quick opinion on as well. So would it be okay, guys, before we go into that, right? Help me to like and share. Give me some love, some heart share. That would be really helpful to the channel. Hit the like and share button. Thank you so much for those of you who have hit the like and share button. All right, thank you so much. All right, hit the like and share button. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed, all right, to my YouTube channel, go ahead to do that, right? So that when we go live every Friday, you will be notified as well. All right, so hit the like and share button, all right, and subscribe if you have not yet done so. We are live on Facebook as well. So go ahead to hit the follow, subscribe if you have not yet done so. All right, so good morning. All right, let's get started. So very simple. After going through your US stocks, right, guys, then what happens is that me and my team, right, Bervyn and Zee as well, right over here joining me today, will cover 3 bonus US stocks that you want to put in your watch list, right? Whereby we got some pretty good bullish signals coming on my 1GT Pro indicator, all right? And then there could be more upside. You want to watch these stocks as well. So that will be at the end, 3 US stocks will be shared with you at the end. So make sure you stay all the way to the end, right? And very simple. Let's go ahead to do, let's get started right now. Okay, so I want to introduce myself first. If you have not met before, my name is Choy Choy, top tier MSTR trader in Philips Securities. My forte is in stocks, and I've been doing this for, I would say, more than a decade now, more than, I would say, 15 years, right? Looking at stocks, all right, and one of the top brokers in Philips Securities. We run some trainings as well to teach people on my One Good Trend strategy on how basically we have access to this tool. I call it the One Good Trend Pro indicator, whereby it allows us to have an opinion on any stocks in seconds, whether to buy, to sell, to wait, to do nothing, all right? And that's exactly what we share later as well, right? So if you want to find a little bit more about the entire strategy and all that, well, you can attend one of those free webinars. The link is right in the chat, right? Team, help me to place the link in the chat. So today we do have time to explain the whole strategy, all right, guys? So you want to find out a bit more about the strategy, all right? How we do it, how we break it all down for you, attend one of those free webinars. I think we don't have one next week, maybe by the end of the month, there'll be a webinar. The link is right in the chat. Click on it, attend it, and that's where I'll share more with you, right? So yeah, I've been doing this for more than a decade, right? I teach people a little bit on my strategy as well, and we do run what we call a fund management business in my team as well. And Bervyn and Zee has been with me for more than 4 to 5 years now, right? So let me go to introduce my team. We have Bervyn right over here as well. Bervyn is one of the top brokers under me in Philips Securities, joining me today, advising on your stocks. And he is also one of our mentors, assisting our one-on-one session with our mentees, assisting in our group coaching session, and also assisting our team's portfolio management as well, business. And Bervyn is also what we call a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst holder, right? Anybody who is in the banking and finance sector, this is one of the highest qualification one can ever get, right? So maybe let me pass on the mic to Bervyn, maybe to share a little bit on himself today. All right, Bervyn?
All right, thanks, Joey. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. Today, we are, like what Joey have said, we are going to cover the US market. So I think the US market is moving up a little bit more, testing those key levels. So I think quite a lot to watch out for. Quite a lot of people are watching out for if those key levels are being broken. So I think today, as long as you have a stock in mind, all right, you can key in the chat later on. But of course, give us a little bit of a context, give us a little bit of a direction on whether you are looking to buy, to sell, you know. But of course, you want to also take note of those key levels, right? Those key levels that you're actually looking out for. So for me, I think we're going to try to keep it a little bit simple. Today, we are going to just revolve around the 1GT Pro indicator, the 1GT strategy, not deviating too much. All right, so let's come back to this AMAS session. Back to you, Joey.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Energized Mood. Very strong team and support. Appreciate the kind words. All right. Energized Mood. All right. I see you every Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Right. Okay. Now, let me go ahead to introduce another of my team member. Right over here joining me, Zee. All right. One of the, I would say, Singapore's top experts in anything to do with technical analysis, charting, candlestick, price action, patterns, whatever to do with the chart, right? Zee is the go-to person. I do consult with her as well, all right, in terms of the chart. Of course, she's very well-versed in my entire one good trend strategy and the 1GT Pro indicator, right? And yeah, Zee is what we call a CMT, Chartered Market Technician. Basically, to keep it simple, expert in charting, all right? So Zee has been with me for more than 4 to 5 years now, conducting our group coaching sessions, our one-on-one sessions with our mentees, and she's here joining me today. Maybe Zee, I'll pass on the mic to you to share a little bit on yourself today.
All right, thank you, Joey. Hi, everybody. My name is Zee. Thanks, Joey, for the introduction. Yeah, so for those who are actually new here, I'm really a big fan of charts and trends, like what Joey have said. Been with his team, for more than 5 years now, right? And the philosophy has always been to keep things simple, right? Breaking things down to the simplest way possible without overcomplicating things, lah. So later on, within the 1.5 hours to about 2 hours, right, whereby we will actually go through as many stocks as possible that you guys requested in the chat. You guys can see, how Joey's 1GT Pro indicator, right, can, with a click of a button, just a quick opinion, it can make your trading journey less intimidating as well. All right. So without further ado, I'll pass the time back over to Joey to actually kickstart today's session.
All right. Thank you so much, Zee. So let's get started, guys. All right. And yeah, as usual, the disclaimer we have to share every time, right? So whatever that's being shared in today's session by me, by Bervyn and Zee, it's just all for education purposes only. So please do your own due diligence, right? It's not really to ask you to buy or sell anything, or not to buy or not to sell, but essentially just to give you a quick opinion based on the strategy, based on the reasonable basis, based on the chart, and we hope that it can add value to you, give a better idea on what to do as well. All right, Ken? So let's get started. So how many of you want me to go ahead to cover what we call the markets right now? This type of M, guys, type of M for markets, guys. If you want me to cover maybe the S&P 500 index, the markets, type M for markets, let me know, right? Type M for markets. All right, let's see, right? We have ICE market as well. So would it be okay if I cover the markets very quickly, or should we just dive into the stocks that you guys want, right? So M for markets, let me know. Victor M as well, MEQ, Rajan M, Jeannie M, Prof M as well. All right, George M. Okay, let's see. Thomas, good to cover the SPY, the S&P 500 index for a start. Okay, let's just do it very quickly. And I know some of you are already typing in the stocks, right? The US stocks that you want a quick opinion on, right? So very good, guys. What happens is this, right? When you type the name of your US stocks, right, you want to give us some context, like Bervyn has mentioned, right? So that's why we'll give you more priority. All right. So when you type the name of your stocks, like for example, Apple or Microsoft or any stock, right? Give us a bit of context, right? Are you looking to buy? Or you bought last week? What price? All right. You're looking to sell? All right. You hold for 1 year already. What is the context? So this when we go ahead to advise you, I mean, based on the charts, right? Based on the strategy, we have a bit of a more personalized, rather than you just put one name there, Apple, and what you want to do about Apple, I also don't know, right? You want to buy or sell, all right? So give us a bit of context. We'll give more priority to those who give us a bit of context, all right? You know, rather than just one name there, lah. Does it make sense, All right, Ken? Okay, so now let's go into talk about this market right now, the S&P 500 index, right? And I would say that just last night, we have seen a pretty bullish move in the market as well. S&P 500 index at 6,502, right? 6,502. So you can see that I've really turned on what we call the moving averages. So moving averages would just to give me a very quick idea about the trend of the market or a stock in seconds. So how do I do it? As I say, this is part of the entire strategy. We do have time to share the whole strategy with you, but in a nutshell, right, we look at what we call the longer term trend and the short-term trend, right? So for example, when we look at the long-term trend, we want to look at the 100 days moving average, the red line, and the blue line, the 200 days moving average, right? So as long as both of these two lines you see in 2024, 2023, right? The red was above the blue, blue also pointing up, everything pointing up. So the longer term trend was up. Does it make sense? Well, right. That was in 2023 to 2024. Somewhere in the beginning of 2025, you see, the red and the blue line all did not point up really. They started to go down a bit or maybe flat. Does it make sense? Well, all right. However, what happens is that over the past 1-2 weeks, so finally, we have seen the red gone back above the blue. You can see, right? About 2 months back, right? The red was actually below the blue. So a bit of a sideways trend, maybe down a little bit, right? But over the past 1-2 weeks, right, you can see that the longer term trend has officially gotten a confirmation of it turning up. So red going above the blue, red pointing up, blue slightly pointing up. So I think the longer term trend has turned up as well. All right, as long as we stay above some of those key support levels for the market, right? So the market, I would say, will be seeing for the S&P 500 index, right? The index that makes up the top 500 companies in the US. We are seeing a very good support, I would say, around the 6,200 level. We've been holding above this, I would say, for more than 2 months now, still holding well. In fact, we've been pushing away, all right, from this support level and attempting to break this very key psychological resistance, right? And this level, just write it down, guys. I think I mentioned in my previous AMAS session as well, right? Right over here, the 6,500. So 6,500 would be a very key psychological resistance for the market, right? We have been attempting to break this resistance level. Look at this right over here. There was last month, near it, came down, near it, came down. Last night, all right, we attempted to go above it and it was like 6,502. Does it make sense, right? So 6,500 is a very key psychological resistance level. We want to be above it, right? And last night, we were like 2 points above it, right? 6,502. All right, which is like 2 points above 6,500, right? So it seems like we are kind of like attempting it. I think next week will be very crucial. Next 1 or 2 weeks will be very, very crucial if we can, firmly go above the 6,500. All right, and we go to 6,510, 6,530, 6,550, above 6,500. I think that could trigger more upside momentum. We could really see more strength in the entire market, right? And if you take a look at the green line, so I talk about the red and blue line, but the green 20 days moving average line kind of give us an idea of the short-term trend, right? How do you tell it? Well, very simple. If the green line is pointing down, so you can see since February, the green line was pointing down, down, from February, March, April, all down, right? Because of Trump tariffs and all that, right? But somewhere around end of April, what happens? The green line started to turn up. Is it still up? I think it is still up. Does it make sense? So the short-term trend is still up, but we are negotiating this very key 6,500 resistance level. So I think if we can break above 6,500, that would be another firm confirmation that we could see more bullish momentum coming to the market. The long-term trend is up. The green line will continue to point up. And there could be more leaks to this rally, all right? So let me talk about some of the news that have happened. I mean, why are we seeing bullishness over the past few weeks? Well, apart from the tariffs, right? So I think all the tariff news regarding the trade war between US and China, all this has cooled off for a while already over the past few months. People are more or less, understanding that Donald Trump is using it as a tool to negotiate, all right? And yes, these de-escalated between US and China. There are several trade deals that are being made as well, all right, regarding China and US, still ongoing. They kind of like push back the deadline for about 90 days. All right, and several trade deals that are ongoing, right? And of course, it kind of like focus back into the interest rate cuts, right? So Jerome Powell kind of mentioned that there could be an interest rate cuts because unemployment has gone up a little bit, economic data came down, not so good as well. So there might be what we call a rate cut coming in this month in September, right? In about 2 weeks' time, right? So that's where the market got a little bit more bullish because of that. Because whenever there any talks about rate cuts, right? The Fed fund rate is going down. So now I think the Fed fund rate is about 4.25%, right? So if there's a rate cut in September, and that could be more bullish as well. And people are even projecting that there could be 2 rate cuts, maybe up to the end of the year. So that is some of the news that came out. I think market is a little bit more bullish due to that, and it could be a catalyst as well. All right, when that happens, it gets executed, we could break the 6,500 level, and we could see even more upside. Right. So that's what I've done in terms of a very manual analysis, just by looking at what we call the trend, right, in the longer term, some of the key support and resistance level as well. But what I could do right now, guys, is that if I wanted to save time, right, and I wanted to get a quick opinion on the market, on any stocks very quickly, right? What I could do, as I say, I have this indicator right over here. I call it the one good trend pro indicator. So this indicator basically is an indicator that is formed, right, based on my one good trend strategy. So the one good trend strategy forms the entire backbone or the concept of this indicator, on how it was kind of like, created from scratch, right? And with a matter of seconds, you can see that I can turn on what we call bullish and bearish signals, right, on any asset classes, even the market, and get an opinion on whether to buy or sell, right, based on the bullish, the green signals, or maybe the red bearish signals. Let me just show you what I mean. As you can see right over here, let's turn on the box, pump. And what happens? So this is the market. You can see, right, very quickly, right, we have some bearish signals, not always bullish. Right? As you can see right over here, we got bearish, two red bearish signals coming out in March, and then we go all the way down. So when you see a red bearish signal, then please don't go and buy lah. I mean, we could be seeing weakness. It might be coming down. All right, of course, the green line turned down as another confirmation as well, and we went down, right? However, somewhere in May, all right, end of April, 29 April to be exact, right? We got a bullish signal. The reversal started, the green 20 days moving average line point up, and there we go all the way up, right? Of course, somewhere in like beginning of August, right? Beginning of August, 1st of August, we got a bearish signal, which sold off quite heavily, right? But the short-term trend was still pretty much pointing up. So that was just one confirmation that we are seeing some heavy selling, right? However, if we get like a few confirmations that it's going down, then you want to be careful, right? But that was one bearish signal. Next day, we rebounded. Green line was still turning up. And what happens is that we have a new, all right, one GT bullish signal actually coming out as well. That was on the 12th of August, right? About 3 weeks back, right? Right over here, we got another one GT bullish signal, as we were still below the 6,500 resistance. So I think I want to put this, I think that the market is still, in my opinion, still very bullish, right? We are kind of like attempting to break the 6,500. If that gives way, this most recent one GT bullish signal, right, can continue to play out, all right? And that's where I think targets could be revised, maybe all the way to 6,006, maybe to 6,800 level. Does it make sense, Mark? All right, so this is the market. This is the S&P 500 index. If I can quickly go through maybe the Dow Jones, right, one of the very popular indexes as well. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones right over here. All right, and let's see, right, so for the Dow Jones, I've been talking about it as well in our AMAS session, right over here. It's a very key level, the 45,000, right? So I've turned on the bullish and bearish, and look at it, right? As I say, we don't just have bullish signals all the way. We would have bearish one, right? And there we go, down, right? A bullish signal came out in May. The rally happened, all right? And let's just zoom into what has happened over the past 2 weeks. Well, finally, guys, you can see for the Dow Jones, right? We have broken, right? I talked about this level over the past few months, right? We have broken the 45,000 psychological resistance level over the past 2 weeks, right? And this level, the 45,000, we have been kept below it since December for about 7 to 8 months. Every time we touch, we come back down. We got a bearish signal, go back down, right? Touch, bearish signal, go back down, right? In fact, last month we touched, come back down a bit, right? But today, we are like 45,621, which is above the 45,000. Does it make sense? In fact, over the past 2 weeks, we broke it, and we have still held and stayed above the 45,000 level. So not too bad, right? The Dow Jones is still looking even more bullish. We have broken the psychological resistance that has now turned into a new support level. And if you look at the moving averages, just to give us an idea of the trend, right? Well, quite clearly, you can see that the 100 days moving average, the red line, about to go above the blue line, right? So the longer term trend, right, starting to show signs of it pointing up. Does it make sense? All right. What about the green line? The green line, right, was like flat and then up and then like flat, and now starting to point up as another confirmation as well. All right. So I think as long as we stay above 45,000 level, there could still be more legs to this rally. We could still see more bullish momentum in the market as we head into the last quarter of 2025. All right. So this is the Dow Jones. All right. Okay. Very good. So now let's move on. Let's move on, guys, very quickly to the stocks, the US stocks that you guys want a quick opinion on, right? So very quickly, I want to go through. I mean, just give me some time, guys. Type in the chat the US stocks that you want a quick opinion on, right? Give us a bit of context. I see, wow, very good, guys. I think you are giving us a little bit of context. You type in the name of the chat, the name of the stock, and you give us a bit of context. That's where we give you a bit more priority. So just give me a while, give me some time. So how it works is, I'll pick one stock, right, one US stock, then I'll pass on the mic to Bervyn, and then Bervyn will pass on the mic to Zee, and then we just go round robin style, one by one. We'll cover. We try to do like maybe more than 15. We try to do maybe more than 15 US stocks today. All right, so just type in the chat, guys. Any of the US stocks you want a quick opinion on, we're going to analyze it from my one good trend strategy. All right, so let me just give me some time, maybe about 1 minute to look through. I'll try to pick the first one for today. All right, let me just go to pick one today. All right, okay, good. I think I can pick the very first one today, and let's see, by energized mode, right? NVDA, NVDA. Okay, let's see. Let me put up to NVDA. One of the very popular, I would say, AI tech stock now. Right, let's take a look. NVDA, NVDA, right over here. Okay, let's take a look and see what it says. Right. Okay, so this is NVIDIA. Okay, let me go to see your question, right? Energized mode. NVIDIA, a head and shoulder and broke the neckline. All right, let's find out. So all my holdings waiting to jump back in to accumulate for the longer term, right? Maybe 3 to 5 years. What is a good entry point, right, for NVIDIA, right? Very good question, right? So maybe what you're trying to say is that maybe you have rode the recovery, got all the way in, right, it all the way up, you sold it, make some good profits, but now maybe wanting to get back in again because you want to keep for the longer term, you think that could be more upside, right? So what could be a good entry point, entry level to think about getting in on NVIDIA? So NVIDIA, guys, is one of the top AI tech stock play, all right, leading the entire AI, the technology sector and the semiconductor sector as well, right? So very strong rally. You can see that I've turned on my one good trend pro indicator. Look at this, right over here, pump, blank, right, pump, on, all right? So give us an opinion in seconds whether to buy or sell. So you can see that I'll not go too far, but in somewhere in like January, right? Look at this, bearish, right? 3-4 bearish signals, and it went down from 150 all the way down to 100, right? So when we see a bearish signal, then probably don't want to buy over first, right? We're going to wait for a reversal. We're going to wait for a confirmation signal to get back in. And did that come? Yes, it came, right? Look at this right over here, right? The bullish signal actually came 7th of May to be exact. Look at the green line. The green 20 days moving average line was going down. It started to point up as another confirmation. So that's where we started to see signs of the trend turning back up, right? So I'm not too sure energized mode when you have got in, all right, and rode all the way back up. But if you have done it based on this bullish signal, great, congrats. Let's see what is the gains, right, from this bullish signal all the way to where we are right now. Well, I would say a 55% gain, right? Pretty okay, 55% gain, right? Still looks good. But let's see what could be a good entry right now, okay? So you can see right now, we are looking at prices hovering maybe just above the 100 and let's see, I think somewhere over here, right? 165, right? 165, 166. That is where I think we are starting to see a little bit of a support coming back. Resistance level 185. So let's just put about 165. So I think 165 to maybe about 185. That is kind of like the range right now for NVIDIA, right? And if you take a look at the green 20 days moving average line, right? Look at the green line. So the green line is going up, flat, all right? So why does it flatten out? Well, it means that we have formed what we call a little bit of a resistance level. So when we see a resistance level, like, the 185, every time we touch, we come back down, right? Touch, come back down. Well, that would be where we're facing some obstacle, right? So that's where the green 20 days moving average line that represents the short-term trend can start to flatten out, right? So that's the reason why we got this, red horizontal resistance level, right? So if you take a look at the green line right now, well, I would say that we are starting to point just a little bit, starting to point out a little bit as we push down, right? But thankfully, we're still above the 165 support level. So let me go to turn on another very powerful feature, all right, of the One Good Trend Pro indicator, and that would be what we call the trailing support and resistance. Let me turn it on, right? Look at this right over here. So you can see, right? When we got the first 1GT bullish signal popping out in 7th of May, right, we have this thing called the trailing support coming out right over here, somewhere around that $100. So $100, this trailing support, this green line, can you see it follows NVIDIA as it push even higher, right? So you can see follow, up, follow, right? Higher, flat up, right? So let me just remove this right here, right? And you can see that this trailing support, right? It gives the stock the space to breathe, right? The breathing room to hopefully move up higher, all right? And give it the space to maneuver, all right? And it accounts for what we call natural volatility, natural pullback. That's fine as well. So as long as you stay above the trailing support level, I think we are still okay, right? So now you can see that this is the trailing support that's, followed NVIDIA from 100, now follow until become 167, 68, 67, you see right over here. So you can see that we are still kind of like above it, right? Above it around the 168 level, above 168. So I think 168 will be what we call a support level, whereby it's pretty key. We are given it the space to be above it. If we remain above it, still okay, right? So I think what could be done is this, right? Energized book. If you look for a re-entry, so I think that NVIDIA still looks okay right now because we're above the trailing support level. Does it make sense? And this trailing spot, it accounts for volatility, right? In fact, if you did near it, it could be a good entry, especially if you see some bullish reversal candles coming out near it. And look at this, right? In fact, this is about 2 weeks back. We neared it and we got a bullish reversal candle. There we go. The rebound actually happened. Same thing, right? Near it, rebound actually happened. So now we have dip around it, right? It seems like some bullish candles are starting to appear. We might potentially see a rebound, right, from the trailing support level. So I think what you could do is for NVIDIA energized book, you could potentially wait for a re-entry near the 168 to 170 to 171. All right, if you want another more confirmation, that's what we do as well, right? If you want more confirmation, what could be done is that we can wait for this green, right? This green 20 days moving average line that is slightly sloping down, right? Maybe just to flatten out a little bit, something like that, right? Just flatten out a little bit, all right? And this just shows that the short-term trend has stabilized, right? We are indeed seeing some good support coming back from 168 to 170. When that happens and you see a couple more bullish reversal candles coming out near there, right? That could be a good, all right? I would say another bonus confirmation, all right? To ride the reversal all the way back to the 185 level. All right, so this is NVIDIA. Of course, if 185 were to break up, above it, we go above 185, we may even see a new 1GT bullish signal, and that could lead the rally all the way up to maybe $200 as well. All right, so that is for the very first stock today. NVIDIA, I think it looks pretty good right now. Maybe a bit of profit taking, but the next 1-2 weeks could be pretty crucial to see if we can hold above the support level. If we do, that could be where we might see a rebound happening again. All right, so that is NVIDIA. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the second US stock for today. Bervyn, all yours.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so let me just see. I think there's one up. Ray. Hi, Ray. Good morning. So I bought Celsius Holdings at 34.74. Very specific. Okay, great. Shall I take profit or hold? Okay, let me just pull up Celsius Holdings right here. 34 point, it's right above the support level I draw previously. 34.74. Great. I mean, obviously you are sitting on quite a tidy profit, about 74-75% profit. Great. Congratulations on that. I think so far Celsius Holdings, that reversal into the longer term uptrend is still intact, or it had just started to pan out, I think earlier in this year, sometime in June. Right here, we can see that the 100 days moving average crossed above that 200 days moving average, and that 20 days moving average subsequently started to move higher along with the prices as well. So I think that is a good reversal into an uptrend still playing out so far. I think earnings also came in, I think quite a few days ago, sometime early August. Obviously, they had beat their earnings and prices eventually pushed higher. So I think right now that $50 support level right back from 2023 is still intact right now. It broke above it. Previously was a resistance sometimes in August. Broke above it, prices pushed higher, and let's just take a look. Where is the next resistance? All right, now the looks like the next resistance is about 69 to about $70. That psychological level, those round numbers that we tend to look out for, are those psychological levels, and prices are still trading under it as of now. So just let me just zoom in a little bit to just take a look at a nearer term. I think perhaps you could find a little bit of a temporary support right around that $58 level. And prices rebound from it last week as well. Quite a few bullish candlesticks, and prices rebounded from it. They're good. So that is where could see some buying interest actually come back in. That is right around where that 20 days moving average, all right, Ray? This is a level that perhaps you want to write down, you want to set up some alerts on as well, $58. As long as prices are able to hold above these $58, great. I think that longer term trend can continue to play out, but that nearer term momentum can continue as well. But I think maybe it's because you see quite a few days of red candles, a little bit worried already. I don't think you should worry too much as of now. I think so far it's still looking good. Let's just the 1GT Pro indicator says, wow, I think got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1GT bullish signals are not just one. You got 5 and prices actually push that 74% that you actually are sitting on right now. So I think that upside towards $69, $70 still present as long as $58 is able to hold. So I think if we do a little bit of a projection, all right, level of projection, I think if that $70 level is able to give way upside towards $80 could be your next target. So should you take profit or should you hold? I think right now all signs still pointing towards that nearer term momentum and the longer term momentum are still present. So I think right now maybe you do not have to rush to take profit, do not have to rush to reduce exposure, but using that trailing support line, right now about $55. So if prices break below that $55 or start to break below that even at $58, yes, then maybe you want to consider using a stop limit order to get out, reduce a little bit of exposure, take some profits off the table. But if prices continue to hold above this level, yes, then maybe you can hit towards that $70, and then it is also okay to take some profits there if you want to. Otherwise, you can to ride that momentum, continue to ride that uptrend. No harm into extending into your gains. And I think there might be some that even think that if $70 is broken, that could be another potential entry. Or that $58 could also be a potential entry to scale into your wins, accumulate on those dips as well to increase your exposure. So I think if you are looking to take profit, just some of the key levels to watch out for. Maybe just set up an alert, right click, add alert just above that $70, maybe about $71, $72. You want to have some alerts just being set up so you know the prices are in the next leg of that uptrend. Start moving your stop limit orders up, start protecting more and more and more of your profits as well. All right, Ray, I think that should be it for Celsius Holdings. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so I think the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Li Si, right? Li Si, hi, nice to see you here again. So you're asking about Vistra, right? And you say that 20 days trend is still down and the price is slightly above TS, is currently priced a good entry. So for those of you who do not know what TS is, I believe Li Si is actually mentioning about trailing support. Right, this is TS. This is the one that Li Si is referring to. But no worries, later on I'll be covering TS as well, the trading support, and to show you guys how how we can actually maximize and effectively use the trading support to help us with our trading plan. All right. So for Vistra Corp, right, actually, if you guys are already a client of Joey for some time, or you guys have been following Joey for some time, right? This stock has already been in our watch list for quite a while for Vistra, right? And as you can see, for Vistra, the longer term trend, right, the red and the blue line is generally pointing up, right? It's generally pointing up, and it is just somewhere, in June, the 100 days moving average, right, has started to flatten out. And it seems like it was, at one point, it seems like it was actually testing the 200 days moving average right here, right? But it did not break below, right? In fact, right, it actually touched and bounced off and it continued to hit higher. So actually, that's not too bad, right? That's not too bad in terms of the longer term trend, right? It did not break down. It did not break down. It is still intact, right? But of course, short-term trend-wise, whereby Li Si is referring to the 20 days moving average, the green line, I mean, on and off throughout the years, we can see that it has been going up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And right now, what do we see? Let me just zoom in, all right? So right now, what has been happening over the past couple of months, right? 20 days moving average since April has been up, right? It has gone down and then it has started to turn up and it broke above both the longer term moving average, right? And it continued to hit all the way up. We also even got a 1 GT bullish signal on this day, on 1st of May, right? And at this point in time, do we have a 1 GT bearish signal? No, right? But over the past month or so, since August, right, what we have been seeing is that 20 days moving average short-term strength has kind of like tapered off, right? And it has started to point down. And that just shows that there is some short-term weakness. All right, there's some short-term weakness. And based on this, what can we tell in terms of the support and resistance, right? So very clearly, price yesterday closed at 189, 189.73, right? And we can see that $200, right, is actually one of the psychological level that you want to take note of, right? Especially so back in somewhere in January, this was where you actually see a very long upper shadow candlestick, and that is where selling pressure is present. And this is actually a psychological resistance, right, where sellers are there to actually push the price back down, and then subsequently, we saw that price headed back down and we got multiple 1 GT bearish signal, right? And same thing here, from June all the way to July, this entire month price was actually testing the $200 as well, unable to break above. But yes, eventually it did broke above it somewhere in August before it broke down again, right? And if we were to zoom in a bit more, and we see that over the past 1 to 2 weeks, right, price has been retesting the 200, but unable to break above. And obviously, we see the same candlestick happening again, one time over here on 28th of August, not too long ago, with a long upper shadow once more, right? And it is again near the 200. So I would say 200 definitely will be one of the psychological resistance that you might want to take note of, right? Especially so when sellers could be present, all right? And Li Si was actually saying, right, about the price is actually slightly above the trading support. So let me just quickly turn on this function, show trading support and resistance, with a click of a button, and this appears, right? So for trading support, as you guys can see, trading support, it trails the prices as it moves up, right? So when you can see that the very first 1 GT bullish signal actually came out, right? Price closed above the trading resistance, and we start to see this green line, right? This green shaded area started to form, right? And as price continues to move up, this trailing support moves up as well, right? And of course, when price actually retrace back, or you see some selling pressure coming down, the trading support don't go down, just go horizontally. And right now, what we are seeing is that the price is, in fact, yes, very near the trading support, like what Li Si has mentioned, right? And when price is actually near a support level, and we know that the stock, right, the long-term uptrend is actually still intact, ideally, when we think about the 1 GT framework and the strategy, what we want to do is we want to buy near the support level, right? So right now, I would say that at this level, at this point in time, yes, I think we are pretty much in the potential buy zone near the trading support, all right, near the trading support. And the immediate resistance that we are looking at will be the 200 because like we've mentioned previously, there are many signs that 200 psychological level, right, the sellers are being present. If price can actually break and hold above this 200, right, then potential upside targets that we are looking at would be towards the 220, right, towards the 220 level, which is the next immediate resistance if price can break and hold above the 200 first, all right. But of course, Li Si, if you're thinking about entering near the support zone at this point in time, right, I think it will be good for you to also think about your downside, right, to also think about and protect your downside. And that is where, apart from using the trading support for entry, right, you can also make use of it to actually have your stop loss plan in place. And usually you can put about a 2 to 3% range below the trading support, right? Below the trading support, something like this, right? Maybe somewhere around, let's see, somewhere below maybe 180, 178, 179. I think this is good enough, right? To actually protect your downside. Because if price were to break below the trading support, then that is where we will actually get a 1 GT bearish signal, right? It doesn't mean that the stock will crash, but it just means that there is more selling pressure present. And when you already give the stock room to breathe, when there is a trading support and it breaks below the trading support, it breaks below the room that you have given for it to breathe, then not so good. That's where we want to actually exit a position and wait first, right? And wait first, and then see if there's any other opportunities. All right. So for Li Si, I hope that helps in terms of some of the levels that potentially you can take note of. And also remember to think about your downside, which is part of your trading plan. All right. So with that, I think I'll pass the time back over to either Joey or Bervyn to see who will actually take over the next stock for now. Oh, okay. I think
Right.
Joey
No worries.
Yeah. Okay. I
Right,
think
I
I'll
think
pass the
maybe
time over to
technical
you.
issues. No worries.
Okay.
Can. So just see. I think Ian. Hey, hi Ian. Good morning. Yeah, welcome back every Friday also. Any thoughts on AVGO? Yes, I know the earnings results just came in last night. Very good results, in fact. What is the RL and SL? Okay, but 1 GT and the entry price, is it too late to accumulate as prices seems to have surged after last night good earnings results? Yes. Yeah, in fact, I saw the post market this morning and prices surged past 320 already. Yeah. So I think as of right now, okay, let me just clear up some of the lines for me here. Just look at the longer term trend. Take into account the prices is actually above 320 after during post market. So this 305 may not be the most accurate to actually look at right now. But we have three 1GT bullish signals, 1, 2, 3, and that longer term uptrend is definitely pointing up, right? And then after yesterday night's close, I think that 20 days moving average surely will be pointing up a little bit more steeply lah. Yeah. And previously prices was in fact trading under that 320 resistance. So right now maybe tonight it may open above, resulting in like a gap up where this 320 will be formed as like a new support. It could be seen as a new support by the buyers in the market as well. But if not, if prices actually drop below that 320 after that open, right? Then let's come back to this and say that 280 level will then be the immediate support. So depending on where prices open tonight, but if we just use that 280 level to project to 320, we can just bring it up, and the next target level would actually be about that $360 level, 360 level. So I think so far signs are pointing towards that as long as prices can stabilize, in fact hold above that 320 level. Yes, I think perhaps that could be a good level. This could be a good level, 320 to maybe about 325, 326 to actually accumulate on those dips as long as this support continues to hold. Because when you're saying, is it too late to accumulate? I'm not too sure you currently already have some positions, but if you do not have positions yet, yes, maybe 320 to maybe 325, 326. Potentially a level to actually watch out for. So if I were to just turn on that trailing support line, all right, you can see that trailing support line actually in fact already started to hit higher and higher and higher as prices rebounded from that 130 level. So we just use right here that 1GT bullish signal all the way until say last night's close. There's a good 87% gain already, and prices are still in fact holding above this trailing support. If prices open higher and close higher above that 320 level, this trailing support line will start to move higher as well. All right, start to move higher as well. So if you are getting in upon a breakout, you gotta first recognize that it's a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more aggressive strategy. Okay, so you want to have a stop loss. All right, even for a new position, you must have a stop loss to actually get out if prices actually fall below the 320 level again, because you don't want the prices to, or you don't want your losses to be extended as well. So I guess that explains for Bossa Nova already. Also, is it too late to enter now after earnings sharp increase? Will it drop back? I don't know. I don't think Z will be able to tell you whether it will come down or not. Joey will be able to tell you whether it will come down or not. But I can tell you what to do if it comes down. Okay, I think that would be a better plan, or I think that would be a good plan to have at the back of your mind if prices don't hold above that 320, don't push higher towards that 360. Then you want to have a risk management plan, get out, wait for that 20 days moving average to stabilize before getting in once again. All right, so I think that is for Broadcom. Let's see what price it opens tonight and whether in fact that momentum can carry on tonight as well. All right, so I'll pass the time back to Z. I think Joey's still handling some issues on his end. So Z, please.
All right. Let me just share my screen quickly over here. Okay, so I think the next stock, right, that I'll be covering will be SOFI, right? HK is actually asking about SOFI. You mentioned that you bought around 21, whether to hold or to sell. Wow, let's take a look. So SOFI as of last night closed at 25.38. You mentioned that you bought at about 21. Let's see, about 21 to where we are at. Well, about 2%, 20%. Sorry, not 2%, 20% in probably about 1 to 2 months. Well, not too bad, not too bad, right? So let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of the levels, right? So first thing first, when we look at SOFI, when we see the moving averages, right, when we see the trend, definitely we all can tell it's pretty much intact, right? The short-term trend, 20 days moving average pointing up. The longer term trend rate and the blue line is also pointing up, right? Green above the red, above the blue. That's what we like to see, right? And furthermore, when we take a look at these, and when I already turn on the signals, what do we see? We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, there's 6 1 GT bullish signal, and at this point in time, there is still no exits yet, right? So HK, I'm not too sure when you first bought into this counter, right? At 21, what is your trading plan? Because by right, like what Bervyn have also just mentioned earlier on, a few minutes ago, right? Always when we enter a stock, we always must have a trading plan, and the trading plan will consist of, of course, your entry price, like the price that you buy in, your target price, and as well as your stop loss price to manage your downside. So I'm not too sure what was your initial target price when you first got into at 21. If let's say it was at about 24, 25, 26, you will probably have hit your targets, right? And probably you could have also taken some profits as well. So when we see over the past couple of weeks, right, what actually happened in terms of price action is that we are seeing some signs of like resistance near the $26 right over here, right? Right over here, we are seeing some resistance because this is where we actually start to see, selling pressure is there, unable to actually break above it, above the $26 at this point in time, right? So if we are thinking about selling, and based on the 1GT framework, we are thinking, it's okay to actually sell near a resistance level. So right now, I would say over here near the 26 level, right, it is near the resistance zone that we are talking about, which is the 26, right? 26. And is it okay to actually take some profit? I think it will be fine. You don't have to take a full profit. Could be partial, half, 1/3. That is also okay, right? That's also okay. Nothing wrong to actually take profits near the resistance level. Right, but then you don't need to take full because if prices were to break above the 26, then potentially we might actually see more strength returning to this counter, right? And perhaps prices, we might even see prices heading up towards where I think potentially the next upside target that we can look towards maybe could be around the 30, right? Because 30 is actually what we consider a psychological level as well, right? Psychological as well. So the other thing that I wanted to highlight to you, right, for HK is that if let's say you decide, maybe at 26 level, I don't think I want to sell first. I want to continue to ride the uptrend and see whether can it actually go further. Then the other way that you can actually utilize this trading support function is to actually make use of it, because like I've mentioned earlier on, right, if prices continues to go up, will the trading support go up? Yes, it will continue to head up, right? And that is where you can actually utilize this trading support function. Place your stop limit order or your stop loss order, right, to actually protect your profits while you continue to ride the uptrend. If prices continue to head up, this trading support continue to go up, and this is where you also continue to shift your stop limit order up to actually protect even more profits. Okay, I hope that actually makes sense, HK, and I hope that helps to let you think about what are some of the decisions that you can take in terms of like taking some profits or whether to maximize your profits. All right. So with that, I think Joey should be okay right now. I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next talk.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Sorry for skipping one turn because my nose was like bleeding just now trying to resolve it. And thanks to Bervyn and Zee for just stepping in for me. All right, so let's get started, right? If my nose was like, it's like bleeding halfway, just ignore it, right? Okay, let's just get started. Let's just get started, right? I'll choose the next stock, right? And that would be, let's see, right? I think this would be for MSTR, Strategy Incorporated, right? Who's asking about it? I think we have like Jared. Jared, I hope you're still over here, right? Can look at MSTR. Thinking of getting it. So you are thinking to buy, thinking to get in, right? But it has been downtrending. Really? Okay, let's find out. Yeah, indeed. It seems like it's been going down over the past like 2-3 weeks. When is a good time to enter? Okay, very good. So let's go to find out. So you're looking to buy, but it's like going down, but you're scared you buy it, go down some more, right? So let's find out if it's a good time to enter, or maybe you should be patient and you should wait and wait for the good time to enter when the time comes, all right? Not anyhow enter and then it goes down some more, right? Okay, so let's find out. So you can see that this is as a MSTR, Strategy Incorporated, right? And I've turned on very quickly the One Good Trend Pro indicator, like Bervyn and Zee, and how we analyze any single stock. You see that we had a couple of like bullish signals. Not too bad. Well, this was in like September last year, right? Very strong, two bullish signals, all the way up. We get bearish, so you want to get out. So whenever you see a bearish signal, you want to get out. You don't want to hold all the way down because it will guide you to take some profit, all right? And we start to see some signs of the trend turning down. Look at the green line that was going up, turned down as well, right? So down, then up, and we got a bullish signal, go up again. Let's just zoom into what has happened over the past 1 month. Well, I would say that Jared, right, looking to buy, right, he has been downtrending. Well, what you're saying is correct, because we have indeed been going lower and lower over the past month. We got not one, but we got two, one GT bearish signal, all right? And if you look at the green 20 days moving average line, I mean, it was like up and down. So when we got the two bearish signals popping out, you can see the green 20 days moving average line that represents the short-term trend also started to turn down. That's another confirmation. So we see confirmations like this all pointing down, bearish signals coming out. First of all, you don't want to buy, right? Why? Because it can go down some more, and true enough, it did go down, from like about 410 now, go down to 327, right? So if you have got in when you see all these things, then you'll be stuck. Does it make sense? All right. So now back to your question. When is a good time to enter? Well, I cannot tell you exactly tomorrow or next Tuesday or next Friday or next Thursday will be a good time. Nobody knows exactly when it's a good time. But what I can tell you is that what am I looking out for such that I know that the good time come already. But I don't know when it will come. But when it comes, I will sure know when it comes. Does it make sense? All right. So what are we looking out for? Well, very simple. If we look at things like the trend. So for example, right, for MSTR, I think you can agree that the longer term trend has been up. So look at the red and the blue line. So, the red 100 days moving average pointing up, the blue 200 days moving average pointing up. So longer term trend is okay, right? But the short term trend can be down. Look at this, right? It was down for like 2-3 months. All right. Same thing over here, down. So short term can be down for 1 month, 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? So the question is that, should we enter when the short term trend is down? Probably not. All right. Why not we let it go down until it cannot go down? They stabilize and they start to reverse back up, and then both the longer term trend and the short term trend is up. Then we get back in. Does it make sense? All right. So what could be what we are looking out for? Well, very simple. If we can see signs of this green 20 days moving average line, obviously it's still pointing down, that maybe it starts to flatten out, like something like that, right? Flatten out, and it starts to point up. All right. That would be a good indication that the short-term trend has turned up. Something like this over here, you can see, right? So the green line was like going down, flat up, and it starts to reverse all the way up. Does it make sense? All right. So if you can take this and then put something like this, that could be what you can look out for. And what we're going to do is that we want to wait for another confirmation as well if we do get some bullish signals coming out. So we see another 1 GT bullish signal, like look at this over here, right? Something like this. Look at this, right? Previously, we got a bearish signal. The green line went down. And there we go. Look at this, right? Down. Pam. Two bullish signals. Boom. Wow, the green line start falling up all the way. Does it make sense? Right? That would be what we are waiting for. So if you have not one, but you have two bullish signal, then even better. Does it make sense? Right? So if you can take this and maybe copy and paste. So you can see now we got two bearish signal. So even more weak. But if you take this and put over here, so if the green line flattens out, points out, we get two or one of bullish signals coming out, that could lead the recovery, and that's where we will be notified as well. So what we can do is that for this 1 GT Pro indicator, we can set an alert, right? So for example, I can set an alert right over here, one good trend pro indicator, buy or sell alert, right? So whenever there are any bullish signals coming out, I will be alerted, and that's where I could think about getting in to ride the reversal, right? When it comes. All right. So back to your question, Jared, I think it's good to be a bit more patient. It hasn't come yet. I mean, as of now, I'm saying it's still a bit more weak. I'm not too sure exactly when, but when it comes to me next 1 or 2 weeks, there could be signs of a reversal. That's where you could think about getting in. And thanks for sharing with me this stock. I've set an alert, so when the bullish signal actually come, that's where we could take a look at this stock as well. All right. So let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's see. Right here, I think Winke is asking United Healthcare, UNH, is there any short-term weakness to buy after Buffett bought? It has been very strong. I think follow up a little bit, looking to buy. Any short-term weakness has been very firm. Okay, Ken, no worries. Let's just take a look at United Healthcare. Just hide that comment for a little bit. Right here, we have United Healthcare. I think what really stands out to me is a few mixed signals. We still have that longer term moving average, right? The blue line, the red line still surely pointing down, correct? cannot bluff ourselves here. I mean, it's really pointing down at this point. But we have a little bit of mixed signal because, yes, you are seeing a little bit of strength in the nearer term or in the shorter term, where the 20 days moving average have started to point up. And we have a 1 GT bullish signal that actually came out on the 15th of August as prices broke above that $280 level after rebounding from that 240 level. So I think if you're looking to buy, I think for a longer term, in fact, I think maybe not yet based on this information. Why? It's because you don't want to go against the longer term trend. Sellers could still be present, right? So I understand that, yes, Warren Buffett has also bought these shares, actually, in fact, quite a bit stake as well. But that doesn't mean, you have to exactly follow, because his horizon could be different from yours. His intentions could be different from yours as well. So I think in the nearer term, let's look at the nearest resistance right around that 320 level first we get. All right, so prices are trading just slightly under that 320 level. So getting in at this point, you may see a little bit of a profit taking actually come back close to that 320 level, and prices start to maybe come back down a little bit as well. That is completely normal. So I think maybe you want to wait out for at least this 100 days moving average to flatten out, because right now it hasn't flattened out just yet, and prices are still trading under that 100 days moving average. The 20 days moving average haven't crossed above that 100 days moving average as well. So I think if that 320 level, if prices are able to break above that 320 level, the upside, I think, towards 375, 380 is possible, and that's where you can perhaps see that 100 days, 200 days moving average start to flatten out a little bit more conviction before we buy. But we want to be a little bit more confident that a reversal is in play. Right now, I think it's just a very early signs of a reversal, with prices just pushing higher but still being kept under a key resistance that has tested 1, 2, 3 times. So if it tests and break above, good sign. If it doesn't test and break above, then I think prices may head back to that 280 level in a little bit of a consolidation range once again. So like what Joey just did just now, I think it's good to also set up what we call a 1 GT buy or sell alert. Right? So if prices break above that 320 level, perhaps you could see another 1 GT bullish signal actually come back in. All right, and then make it 2 1 GT bullish signals. Yes, maybe a little bit better, be in a better position as well. Yes, I know, you understand you'll be buying a little bit of a premium, but I think it's fine as long as the trend plays out in your favor. Right, that's the most important thing. So I would like to take the time to actually also answer a question. I think naps are good. I agree, naps are good. The signals come up on the day itself or after the day ends. For example, the signal for the day's trading will only show up at the end of the day. Great question. So I believe you're referring to the 1 GT signals. Do they appear when prices break above, or only at the end of the day when the candle is fully formed, then it will break above? The answer will be the first option. So as prices are moving, all right, say for example, if there's a 1 GT bullish signal today on United Health, during the trading hours, this 1 GT bullish signal will show up as long as the conditions are met. All right, but at any point, if the conditions no longer meet during that day's trading, the 1 GT bullish signal will then disappear. When will it stay? It will only stay if the conditions are met at during when the prices are closing, or when the market is closing, or when that candle is fully formed. So in fact, it is live. It will show up on the day itself or during the regular trading hours when the stock is trading, but it will stay only when the conditions are met at the day's close. All right, hopefully that answers your question. Naps are good. Winket, hopefully that helps as well. I think let's be a little bit more patient for United Health, wait for a little bit more confirmation first, have those alerts being set up. Okay, so I'll pass the time back to Z to actually cover the next stock for us.
All right, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so I think the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Kunaf, right? Kunaf is actually asking about Microsoft. You bought Microsoft at 420 after reaching around 500. Price is not moving further. Can I sell it now? Okay, so let's take a look at Microsoft, right, and see what are some of the levels that we should actually take note of. So first thing first, I mean, all of us, we can already see like, you know, after the earnings result in May, price gapped up and then it rallied all the way up, even close to the 560 level, right, which is one of the highs, right, the highest point like over the past, I think, in fact, all-time high. In fact, yeah, it's in fact an all-time high, right, near the 560. So, and over the past couple of months, right, not past couple of months, past couple of weeks since the earnings result get up, we can see that, you know, selling pressure started to come in, you know, everybody started to take profits, and then prices started to push down, right? But we still don't have a 1 GT bearish signal yet. The 1 GT bullish signal, in fact, is actually still playing out. There is still no exit signals yet, right? So Kunaf mentioned that you bought at 420. Let's see. You bought 420, probably somewhere, you know, when you first gap up, somewhere around here, 420. And right now, you are sitting on about close to 20% profits. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. I mean, but of course, I hope that, you know, we would have already sold somewhere near the highs, but sometimes, you know, it's just not possible, right? Because at that point in time, we would not know that, you know, selling pressure is so strong and price came back all the way down, right? So right now, what can we do about it, right? The thing is, what can we do about it? So we know that over the past months or so, since July, $500, right, I would say is one of the psychological support level that we are actually looking at. Right, and currently, I would say it is the immediate support level, in fact, because over the past 1 to 2 weeks, we see that, you know, selling pressure has kind of like stopped, right, for a little bit, and buyers started to come in to support the price near this $500, right, near this $500, and it seems to be stabilizing for a bit. And plus the 20 days moving average, I mean, of course, it was initially pointing up and then it started to point down, right? I think what I want to monitor, what I want to see ideally would be, you know, for the $500 level, right, to be able to hold up. If it's able to hold and consolidate, do you think that the 20 days moving average will also start to actually, you know, head sideways? I would think so, right? I would think so, right? It will start to head sideways, and that is okay, because at least it's not pointing down. And plus the fact that longer term trend, the red and the blue line, they are actually still pointing up. They are still sloping up. So I would say that longer term trend is still intact, but currently we are seeing some short-term weakness, but 500 at this point in time, it is still holding, right? So for Kuna, for your case, right, I think what potentially you can do, right, is to protect your capital, because and protect your profits, because you mentioned that you bought 420, right? And just now we saw that you're probably sitting on about like 20% profits, right? So one thing that you can do is to make use of this trading support function. So if I were to turn it on, and we can see that this trading support function, right, like what I mentioned earlier on, to recap again, it actually accounts for the stock volatility. All right, it gives it room to breathe, account for the stock volatility. And since like August, end of July, you see 31st of July, right, the trading support has started to just head sideways, right, and it has already flattened out. And we see that prices is actually very near to the trading support. Of course, if let's say price can rebound back above the trading support, great, right? And then that is where you can actually, you know, like what I mentioned earlier on, use your stop limit order, right, to trail the trailing support as it moves up to protect even more capital, right? But for now, because if you are afraid that, you know, if prices were to break below the 500, then that will be where we will see a 1 GT bearish signal, right? But it doesn't mean that the stock will crash. It just means that more selling pressure has returned, and that is where you want to be a bit more cautious, and that's where you want to protect your profits, right? So perhaps you can consider to set some alerts, right, below the trailing support, right? Or to set your stop limit alert as well, to set your stop limit order below the trading support, right? Because if prices were to break below the trading support, if from 420, let's see, 420 about here to maybe about here, right, your trading support, you would still actually protect about 17 to 18% of your profits, okay? And I think that is one thing that potentially you can consider as well. But of course, if prices can hold above the $500, right, like that, consolidate and rebound up, great, right? I think then the next potential upside target or the immediate resistance level that we are looking at would be towards the 560. All right. So Kunaf, that will be some of the levels that potentially, if in your situation, I will take note of, especially to protect my profits near the use the trading support as a reference point. All right. With that, I'll pass the time back to Joey to actually cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let's move on to the next one, and that would be this stock called Copart. I think who's asking about it? We have Chong asking about it, right? So I've never heard of this stock before. All right, this is the first time I heard of it. All right, but you can see very clearly, guys. I've turned on the One Good Trend Pro indicator on it, right, to see what it says, right? So I think, Chong, what you're saying is this, right? My friend recommended me to buy Copat, right? The code is CPRT, saying that it is undervalued and there's potential for going up. Okay, very good. So hopefully your friend is right, right? It was at 49.97 at closing. Yep, indeed, it's at 49.97 as of last night closing, up about 3%. Is it time to enter? Is it time to enter? So first thing first, Chong, the question is that, I mean, your friend can tell you to enter, but will your friend tell you to get out also? That's the question. Because many times you hear, my friend say this, my friend say that, I heard from some rumors and this, right? But people always try to go in. But what about getting out? Is there a plan? First of all, is there a plan to get out when the time comes? Or your friend say get in is to hold for 5 year, 10 year, hold forever kind, right? Or go down also just hold kind. So you must know exactly what to do. Because most people, they only follow one part, but the second part never follow. All right. And then after 5 years, the friend sell already, then you say, why are you still holding on to it? I already sold already, right? So the key is that we can follow, but make sure you follow the full part. All right, don't follow the blindly, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this stock right now, right? Let's go take a look at this stock right now, and Copat trading at 49.97. So you can see that for Copat, it has been pretty volatile. I mean, we do have a couple of bullish signals right over here. That was in January last year, pump, all the way up, and we get bearish, and it starts going down. All right, two bullish, all the way up, bearish, two starts coming down. Another bullish signal in April this year, all the way up. And we got two bearish signals coming out in May. All right, lucky your friend never asked you to buy over here. Like, if you get bearish signal, you go and buy. Then your friend is like, confirm not correct, right? But the thing is that we got two bearish signals. And you can see what happens, right? We started to hit down, and down, right? The green 20 days moving average line also started to point down. All right? So you can see that over the past 1-2 weeks, right? We are indeed seeing some signs of a reversal, right? We finally we got a 1 GT bullish signal coming out. I mean, that was the previous one, right? We got a bullish signal, all the way up, two bullish signals all the way up. So your friend might be, I would say, your friend is looking at it more from a kind of like a valuation perspective, more fundamental, right? Undervalued, right? Potential to go up. But technically, let me give you a viewpoint as well. I would say that there are definitely some signs of a reversal in the short term. Look at this, the green line is pointing up. We got a bullish signal. I think the key here is this level, the $50. I think $50 would be a psychological resistance level. If we can break the 50, or maybe even above that 52, right? Well, we could see maybe more upside, maybe all the way to 55, maybe all the way to $60, right? That could become like the short-term upside targets, right? Maybe all the way even to that 65 or $64. That could be the upside targets. I mean, if we were to get above 50 or 52, we could potentially see that reversal. I mean, why? Because that was what has happened. I would say after getting bullish signals come out in November, in April, all right, and we started to see that rally, right? But the key is this, right? The trend, all right, in the longer term, look at the rates and the blue line. You can see, right, the red and blue line is like sideways. Now it's a bit pointing down. So I'm not exactly too positive in terms of the longer term trend. So it might move up, right? But move up to where, right? It might move up to maybe 55, 56, 60, and then that's where some selling pressure might actually come back again. So if you want to buy to take a quick trade, yeah, I mean, it's possible, but make sure you have a plan. As I say, you don't have a plan. You don't want to just buy and then we see like bearish signals as it moves up. Maybe you see these two bearish signals from here coming out over here, and then you're still holding all the way back down, and then maybe not that way lah. Does it make sense? Right? So I think it's good. I think there could be some potential upside in the short term, but same thing, you want to have a plan, you want to know where to get out, especially if it hits to some resistance level, maybe near that 65. If it does hit there, maybe near 60, maybe near 55. And of course, if we do get bearish signals coming out as well, that could point to that reversal back down. And that's where you want to think about getting out as well. And maybe also inform your friend to get out, all right, to save him some money as well. So you don't want to let it, come all the way back down, and then, you from making money become lose money. Does it make sense? All right. So that is for this stock called Copat, CPRT. I hope that helps, Chong. All right. And I hope it helps your friend as well. Okay. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next US stock.
All right. Thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see right here. I think Andy. Hi, Andy. Good morning. So PERI Network bought above $20, now below $10. Okay. Thinking of selling or to redeploy the cash. Appreciate your analysis. great. That's good. So you know that prices have been falling and you're looking to, finally deploy a plan. Just take a look at PERI network here. I'm also not too familiar with this stock. I never heard of it. Not too sure what they do. But from what I'm seeing right here, if you're buying on above $20, probably it is from last year, February 2024. Yeah, but then prices actually fell again, fell lower again, and then the thing in the mid of last year is pretty much in this range already, between this 8 to maybe about $10 to $12 range. Not too sure what happened in between, quite a little bit of a gap down. So you want to be a bit more careful for these kind of shares. When they drop, they can drop very, very quickly. You cannot predict. So you want to look for the longer term trend to be in place. Because at that point of time, $20, when you bought, maybe the trend was already pointing down. So a bit dangerous to get in because you were trading against the trend. But okay, so let's see right now, is there any chance of a reversal? Is there any chance of a reversal, or is there any signs of a reversal before you actually sell and redeploy or protect whatever's left of the capital as well? So okay, so firstly, I think what stands out is 3-1 GT bearish signal. The most recent one appeared actually last night. Last night there is a fresh 1 GT bearish signal that came in. So it doesn't mean the stock will go to $5, $4. It just means that you can expect maybe a little bit of a weakness coming in the nearer term, or that continuation of that weakness actually continuing. Because it's not a 1 GT bullish, it's a bearish signal. But prices are looking like it's holding above that $9 level, or say consistently testing that $9 support level. All right, it's consistently been testing it, and that 20 days moving average actually, in fact, just crossed below that 200 days moving average as well. So that is also not a good sign. Yes, that 100 days, 200 days moving average, yes, it's pointing up in the nearer term, yes, because prices actually rebound from $7 up to about $11.50, and then it came down. So I expect if prices continue to stay above these $9, just not moving much, this 100 days and 200 days moving average could continue to flatten out. So that is not a good sign if prices or buyers don't come in. So I think for yourself, Andy, just need to be careful about this $9 level. You want to make sure, or you want to monitor closely if prices are able to hold above the $9 level. If not, otherwise, the next support level could be around that $8 level, it will seem. Right, let me just change this to green in color. Right, then just do it like that. That is another 10% from its close to maybe even 12%. 12% from its current levels, another 12% down if prices hit towards that $8 level. So I think just now, when we are looking at a stock in an uptrend, yes, we have a trailing support. But right now, when we're looking at shares in a downtrend, or if the downtrend is intact, you see like a trailing resistance. It works in opposite context rather as compared to that trailing support, right? So it gives the stock room to breathe on that upside. So you want prices to be able to hit higher, right, and break that trailing resistance, right? Where right now that trailing resistance is about $10, right, very close to that psychological $10 level. So if prices were to be able to break above that trailing resistance, great. Maybe that's a good sign that maybe nearer term momentum is present, nearer term buying interest is coming back, and prices could hit back up to that 1150 key resistance level as well. But I think as of right now, Andy, set up some alerts below that $9 level just to get yourself alerted that prices in fact are starting to hit lower. Then maybe consider a plan to reduce some exposure when if prices head up higher, because think about it very logically, you bought it above $20. Now you need prices to move more than 100% to just break even, more than 100% just to break even. Is there a better way to actually deploy your capital rather than to wait for the stock to move 100%? There are other opportunities around. I think we don't have to be very stuck on specifically buying only into one share. So I think I hope that helps. All right, have a risk management plan in place already. You don't want to have this loss being extended any further. All right, Andy. So pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock for you guys.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so let me share the screen quickly. Okay, so I think the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Francis. Right, Francis is saying you're exploring energy stocks in the uranium. Right, URA, URG saw both have 1 GT signal. Is it a good time to enter when we are a few days late? All right, let's take a look at it. So I believe you. Let me just do the first one, which is URA. All right, URA. So here we have URA, and you are saying that is it a good time to enter when we are a few days late. So I believe you have access to the 1 GT signals and you are able to see the 1 GT signal. And this one, the latest one just came out on the 3rd of September, right? 2 days ago. And you are thinking of entering, but not too sure whether is it too late, right? Because it's 2 days ago. Okay, so let's take a look. Right. So for uranium, right? First thing first, we always look at the trend. I would say that longer term trend, right? We are showing some positive signs. Like why? Because somewhere in July, what we actually see is this, right? The red actually crossed above the blue line, right? And that's a good thing because ideally we want to see the 100 days moving average above the 200 days moving average. But during this whole period, right, from July all the way to September, what do we see in terms of the shorter term trend, which is the 20 days moving average? Of course, it was actually heading up prior, right, before that. But somewhere at the start of July, it started to taper out a bit, right? It started to flatten out a bit. And then suddenly we get a 1 GT bearish signal. And right now, the 20 days moving average is just kind of heading sideways, right? Just kind of heading sideways. But yes, we did get a 1 GT bullish signal just 2 days ago, right? On the 3rd of September, right? So with regards to this, right, we usually don't just say like, oh, when I see a 1 GT bullish signal, right, wow, I straight away go in and buy. Because the thing is that we still want to take a look at the bigger picture, right? We want to take a look at where are prices in respect to the current levels, like where is the resistance, where is the support level, because we don't just purely use the signals and then see like, oh, okay, got signal, I go in and buy, right? Because we still want to take a look at, hey, where exactly is the price now, right? Because why would you want to buy if prices is actually near a resistance, right? Because like what I mentioned earlier on, if price is actually near a resistance, what usually happens at a resistance is that selling pressure is present, right? Then you buy in directly near the resistance, then after that the price come down, then you'll be asking, hey, why I buy every time I buy, then the price suddenly come down, right? That is what a lot of people would say, right? So that is why the whole reason we don't just buy when we see a 1 GT bullish signal. We want to take a look at the entire context, all right? So with this, let's take a look at where are some of the levels that we should take note of. So first thing first, resistance wise, very clearly over the past 2 to 3 months from July all the way to where we are at now, resistance very clearly is somewhere near this 42.50 because this is where we see every single time when price near this level, this is where selling pressure is present. It pushes the price back down, right? Back down to where? I think the support will be somewhere near the 36, right? Near this 36 level, because this was where we saw buyers are coming in to step in to support the prices, right? And every time it's near 36, it actually bounced back up. Every time it's near the 42.50, selling pressure is present in push the price back down. All right. So I think perhaps what you can do is to set price alert, right, slightly above the 42.50, like multiple alerts, right, to alert you if prices can actually break and hold above this 42.50 for another leg up for this particular counter. And if prices can indeed break and hold above 42, potentially we might get another 1 GT bullish signal, right? That will give us another confirmation. And plus, if that actually happened, do you think that the 20 days moving average now is actually going sideways, right? If it breaks and hold above, do you think that the 20 days moving average will also start to show some signs of it pointing up? I would think so, right? And that will give you another confirmation as well that the short-term trend and the longer-term trend is actually aligned, right? And with that, if prices can break and hold above the 42, right, where is the potential upside that we are looking at? What we can do is based on a range, right? Because price have been trading within a range for a few months, right? And if you actually do this projection up, I think, let's see, from here to about here, right? The next upside target that we are looking at potentially could be about 48.50 to maybe even $50, right? Because $50 would be considered a psychological level. Okay, so for Francis, I don't think by seeing the signal 2 days later, it is too late because like what I mentioned, we want to see the entire thing in a context, right? In a big picture point of view. And what you can do is potentially to set some price alert based on the levels that I've just mentioned, all right? And I hope that actually helps. Okay, so with that, I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next topic.
All right, thank you so much, Zee. All right, it's very good sharing right there on, we want to get more confirmations, right? Not just that when we see a bullish signal, means we now just go and buy, right? When we see a bullish signal plus something else, plus one more confirmation, then that will give us what we call a high conviction trade entry, and that's where we're going to think about getting it. All right, I hope that makes sense, right? Okay, now let's go on to the very next stock, right? And that would be asked by, let's see, Ian. I think Ian, hopefully you're still here, Ian. Thoughts on ABBV, all right? The name of the company is ABBV Incorporated, right? Time to take some profit. You bought at $72. Awesome, right? You bought at $72. Now it's $213. Confirm make money, right? Congratulations. Okay. Or accumulate at what level for more dividends in the long run. So you are kind of like in a mix, right? You bought at $72. Now it's $200 over dollars. It's definitely sitting on some profit. So you just take some profit, or maybe you think you can go up even more. You can buy some more, right? So let's go to find out. So I would say that this is ABBV right here. One of the very strong longer term uptrending stocks, just by looking at what we call the red and the blue line. Look at this. I mean, the 100 days moving average red line has been pointing up, red above the blue. Even up to now, the red is still above the blue. Both slightly pointing up or maybe sideways a bit, but the red has been above the blue since like beginning of last year, right? For almost 2 years. It has been in a pretty good long-term uptrend. However, the short term isn't always up. I mean, look at this, right? We got the bearish signal. I mean, previously we got 2 bullish signal, right? 2 bullish signals. The short term trend turned out all the way up, and we get the bearish signal. It starts going down. Another bullish signal. So remember, we covered just now another example, right? Whereby we want to be patient, we want to wait, right? I'm not too sure what stock was it, but I think it was this stock I covered called if I'm not wrong, MSTR, something like that, right? MSTR, whereby you want to wait for some signs of the reversal coming in the short term and maybe a new bullish signal. So that was what happened, right? Look at this one, pump, all the way back up, all right? Bullish signals up, bearish signal, it starts coming down, get out, take some profit, right? So now let's go back to your question, right? Is it time to take some profit and or maybe even buy more, right? Well, I would say that for Ian, I mean, for this counter ABBV, well, recently we got not one, but we got 2 1 GT bullish signal coming out, right? Longer term trend, as I mentioned, has been up. The short term trend, or if you look at the green line, if you ask me in May and June and July, it was quite boring. Like it was like moving sideways. All right. However, over the past 1 over month, the green line has started to point up. So the short term trend has turned from sideways to up. All right. Now let's see if we have headed to what we call a very key resistance level, whereby maybe you could take some, not all, some. All right, I didn't say all because it actually still looks good, right? But if you want to take some profit, nothing wrong. Why? Because a resistance level, like Z has mentioned, right, is where we might see sellers coming back, all right, a bit of profit taking. It might stay below for a couple of weeks, couple of months, right? I mean, you might just negotiate that obstacle for a while, right? So if you want to take some profit near there, maybe wait for a pullback and then you can get in a bit cheaper, right? Nothing wrong, all right? But I say again, take some, right? Take some, not all, right? Because if the stock still looks good, there could be even more upside. So you don't want to be to go into a situation whereby you sell everything and then it breaks the resistance and it goes even higher. And then you see that sell already, then go up, right? Because you sold all, right? So we say some, not all, right? Nothing more to sell some profits. I mean, to take some profits as it hits towards a resistance level. So what would be that very key resistance level? Let me just draw this red line for you right over here. $215 yen. I hope it's still over here. 215. In fact, yesterday, so you can see 215 was where we were somewhere in March, about 5 months back. We hit it there. Some bearish candles popped up, and there we go, right? Of course, Trump introduced tariffs and stuff. Then we sold all the way down. Now, we are right over here. In fact, yesterday, right? I think we went to a high of about 214.19. All right, almost 215. Some sellers came back and pushed it down. So I think we are back now to the same $215 resistance level. So if you want to take some profit, I mean, near the 215, 214 something, 213 something, I think nothing wrong, because that was where, we have traded there previously in March, and then we came all the way down, right? So you want to take some profit, nothing wrong, because that's where potentially some profit taking can come back again, all right? However, I feel that the stock still looks good. That's why I say some are not all. Why? Because this bullish signal is still in play. Long-term trend is up. Bullish signal in play. In fact, I think that if we do see a new 1 GT bullish signal coming out, if we break the 215 or maybe break 220, we may see a new 1 GT bullish signal coming out, and that could lead the next upside phase all the way to 230 to 240. Let me just do a bit of a projection right over here based on the consolidation, right? We're seeing a little bit of a consolidation, something like this, right? So we could do a bit of a projection all the way up. Well, maybe all the way to like 235 to 240. That could be the next upside targets if we break 215, 215. All right, so let's take a look at what could be a potential re-entry as well. All right, in case you do want to take some profit, right? You want to think about getting in more, right? Even though you have it, but you want to think about buying more of stocks like this. Well, that's entirely possible as well, because if the stock is strong, right? Most people always think about selling and selling, get out and get out. But if the stock is strong, good one, right? You could actually think about accumulating more, all right, at certain levels to profit even more. Does it make sense? Right? If the stock is strong, of course, it's not good and going down, then please don't go and buy. But if it's strong, we have bullish signals, then apart from just taking some profit or all profits, you could actually think about buying more. You see what I'm saying? What? All right. So what could be some of those levels where you could think about getting in? Well, very simple. Let me go to turn on the trailing support level. So this trailing support, that me and my team have talked about, I mentioned, right, that it follows a stock as it moves up, but don't follow too closely. You give the stock the breathing room to maneuver, to move, right? And then as it goes up, you follow some more, right? As long as you stay above it, you're fine. So you can see the trailing support has popped up in May, up, flat, follow. Now, the trailing support is somewhere around that 200, 205 level. So if we do near, I'm not too sure whether it's near, but if we do near the 205, 206, dip a little bit, well, that could be where some bargain hunting might come back again. You could think about entering near there, right, to capture a little bit more upside in terms of more attractive prices as well. And hopefully, when that happens, it breaks 215 after that, we could see the next phase of upside. All right, so that will be for ABBV. All right, let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see. Here we go. AMAS, hi. Good morning, AMAS. Can look at LLY. Bought average price 725. What is the upside from here on? Sell now or can add? All right, okay, AMAS. Let me just throw up LLY onto the screen right here. I think LLY. I'm not too sure when you bought. Yeah, I know the price you bought is 725, but was it way back before as prices headed up higher, or is it more recent? So if it's more recent, then yeah, I think maybe it looks like, yeah, there could be a rebound. There was a rebound, in fact, from the 640 level. But I think in the longer term, if you are still looking at it, can see that the 100 days and 200 days moving average, 200 days moving average especially, still pointing down. Okay, but the good thing here I see is that 100 days moving average starting to move sideways already a little bit, and that 20 days moving average, I think as of the last 3 days, have started to level out a bit. So a little bit of a mixed signal, The longer term, the 200 days still showing that it's still a bit down. 100 days leveling out, showing a little bit of sideways consolidation. 20 days moving average showing, it's just moving sideways, potentially another sign of a consolidation phase that could happen. Okay, so we have a 1 GT bullish signal that came out, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago, as well as prices broke above that $700 resistance level, now turned into a support. So you had an entry close to that 725 level. I think yesterday prices closed at 742. So I think a little bit close if you are looking to get in a little bit more. But I think signs are pointing towards that we are not too sure if a reversal could play out. I think the next sign you will want to actually look at is if prices continue to hit a little bit higher. That's where you can potentially see that 20 days moving average start to hit up, and that 100 days moving average continue to flatten out. Let the 20 days moving average, or let the prices show you the direction. If it continues to show momentum, right? If it continues to show momentum, or they continue to show the consolidation, great, that's a good sign. That means that $700 level, the 700 support level, is a support level that is continue to be respected, or it has been respected by the buyers, in fact, right? And if prices hit up higher, closer to the 820 level, right? You can see that previously this is where profit taking actually came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I think this is the next key resistance level to watch out for as well. I think in the nearer term, you're looking for a little bit of a resistance. You can find it, I would say, right around that 760 level as well. So I think buying at this point without any further confirmation of the continued trend can be very, very dangerous. So we want to maybe set up some alerts. All right, if prices break above the 760 level, great. I think that's the next sign of the reversal continuing to play out. All right, and if it holds above the 760 level, that 820 level can be the next level to actually watch out for. And maybe even, in fact, that is where you want to place some targets to actually let go of, release some of that position as well, reduce a little bit of exposure, take some profits off the table, because in fact, if prices head towards the 820 level, you're already sitting on some profits, right? Then you want to actually also watch out for if there is any new 1GT bullish signal that come out, especially when the 760 level is broken. If there's a new 1GT bullish signal coming out, all right, right here like that, yes, then maybe I think prices is in fact playing out its reversal, and then potentially we can draw the next higher targets. But I think one step at a time. All right. So the next thing you need to watch out for is, now you have a position, but there are mixed signals. So prices can easily come back down, see a little bit of weakness as well. So you want to also turn on that trailing support line. The trailing support line is right around the 680 level. So that's a level you actually want to actually watch out for in the nearer term as well. If prices break below the 680 level, have a stop loss plan, get out of the stop first, wait for further confirmations before getting back in. All right, Amos, I'll pass the time now to Z to actually cover the next stock for you guys.
Okay, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so let me share my screen, and I think the next stock that I would like to cover would be GLD, right, by JJ, because I believe this GLD has also been on quite a number of people's radar, right, especially it has surged over the past few days, and this stock was also one of the bonus stock that we have also shared in our AMAS live, actually a few months back as well. Like, we have been covering this since I believe it was like somewhere in May or June or somewhere like that, right, before the surge actually even happened. All right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's actually happening with gold at this point in time, right? So as we can tell, right, if we take a look at this from a longer term perspective, maybe you don't have to go too far, right? Just even from 2025, right? We are seeing that the longer term trend for gold, right, is actually very much intact, right? The red and the blue line is generally pointing up, and both are actually all sloping up, and the red is somehow is above the blue line, right? But short term trend wise, on and off, we do get some sideways consolidation, right? Like from here November to about February, it started to taper and go down a bit, right, before it actually went up. And also, right over here, right, from May all the way to September, what we are seeing, right, is that the short term trend has already headed sideways, right? It was actually flattening out, and it just goes sideways like this. But during this sideways consolidation period, right, if we look down at the moving average for the longer term trend, the red and the blue line, in fact, is actually still pointing up, right? It's actually still pointing up. So the thing is that when we are actually seeing some sideways consolidation, right, especially like so, right, during the period whereby the longer term uptrend is actually still intact, it's actually a good thing, right? It's a good thing because it just makes the uptrend even more sustainable before it actually break out. So during this period that it was consolidating sideways, what can we see? We can spot that one of the support levels was definitely at around the 300, right? Because 300 is actually a psychological level, and every time when it's near the $300, that is where support comes in, buying pressure comes in to support the prices, right? And when prices actually always near this level, this 320, as you can see, when it's nearly, this is where all the selling pressure come back and push the price back down, and it has been going on like that for a couple of months, right? And it was just within this range. So I would say 320 is one of the resistance level, right? So the price range that it was trading at was about $20, I would say, from 300 to about 320 since it started consolidating in April all the way to September, right? And over the past couple of days, what we actually see is we actually got two consecutive 1GT bullish signal, and price broke above the 320 as well, which is a resistance, right? And now this resistance has turned to become what we call a new higher support level, right? A new higher support level. And I think, prices surge up, right, I think there's nothing wrong for some profit taking to actually happen, you know, because maybe when people actually bought somewhere about 300 and then price surge up to, you know, 320, 300, close to 330, they might want to take some profits, right? So we could potentially be seeing some retracement, right? But I think what I want to observe and what I want to see is price actually able to hold above this new higher support at 320, right? If it does, then I think potential upside targets that we are looking at will be about 340. And how do we get this 340? Same thing, right? Based on the projection that we always do, right? Because price is at an all-time high, price was trading within a range about $20, right? For more than 3 to 4 months. And if we were to do a very simple projection upwards, it will be close to about 340, right? So I think what will be crucial is price will be able to hold above this 320, right? Even if, let's say, we traces back, selling pressure come back in, if price is able to hold above the 320, then I think potential upside targets would be towards the 340 level. All right, but at this point in time, I think there is still no bearish signal yet. We've got a 2 consecutive 1GT bullish signal. I think definitely this at this point in time, short-term and long-term trend is definitely still aligned. I think this is one stock that perhaps you might want to still keep in your watch list and keep a very close lookout, especially for the 320 levels. All right, because potentially if you can hold above, then the new higher support, this would be what we call a potential buy zone as well, because we actually have a new support level being found. All right, so that would be for GLD. I hope that helps. I'll pass the time back over to Joey to actually do the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let's go ahead to cover the next stock, and that would be this stock called Alphabet, right? Alphabet right here, GOOGL, right? GOOGL right over here, trading at 232. I think first class you're asking about it, right? Okay, so before I cover Alphabet, let me just do a quick recap of what are the stocks that we have covered so far. Let's do a quick recap of what you have covered so far. Very simple, right at the beginning, right? We covered the markets, the S&P 500 index, and even the Dow Jones. All right, and the very first stock that I covered was NVDA. Then we talked about CELH. Z covered Vistra. All right, Bervyn covered AVGO, Broadcom. Then SOFI, SOFI. I went on and covered MSTR. All right, and then UNH, Microsoft, Copart, Perion Network covered by Bervyn, and Z covered URA, right? Global X Uranium ETF. Very interesting stock, all right? Haven't heard of it before, but it's a very good ETF. I think Z covered that as well. Finally, I covered on ABBV, LLY, Eli Lilly and Co. Z just covered GOLD, GLD, all right, the ETF. And right now, I'm moving on to Google, all right? Alphabet, GOOGL. Right? So if we have covered your stocks, guys, we'll not be covering it again. You can probably watch the replay to understand what we talk about, what we analyze the stock, right? Let's see if we cover more stocks today, but let's go on to stock number 15, and that will be Alphabet, right? GOOGL. So very quickly, right? First class, Google gap up since 2 days ago. Definitely look at this, right? 2 days back, pump. We gap up by more than 5-8%. Possible to continue to ride the history high. So very good. You mentioned that, yes, gapped up. Is it possible to continue to ride it? So I assume that, first class, that you have bought it previously, and you're asking if it's possible to ride even more, all right, to let it go up even more and hopefully make more profits, right? So let's go to analyze this and see what happens, right? Okay. So you can see that very quickly, I've turned on the 1GT Pro indicator in terms of the bullish and bearish signals. Right? I'll not go too far, but every time you get the bullish signals, pump, all the way up, bearish signals since February, March, and down we go. But look at this, right? I think there's a very strong reversal coming out for Alphabet right over here as the reversal happened in May, early of May, 2nd of May to be exact, right? We got the first 1GT bullish signal. The green line that was going down for 2-3 months started to point up as another confirmation. Look at the green line right now. Is it still pointing up? Up, flat, up. I think it is still pointing up. And more importantly, we also have another 1GT bullish signal coming out. Let's take a look at the gains, right? How much would that be based on this first bullish signal? Well, I would say it would be all the way about 45%. 45% in about 4 months. Does it make sense about, right? How many of you think this is pretty cool, right? 45% in about 4 months, right? And it seems like there's no stopping it. I don't see any bearish 1 GT. I mean, rate signals coming out. There isn't, right? I mean, of course, there isn't right now. I'm not too sure whether it will come out next week or next month or next month, but as of today, there isn't a rate 1 GT bearish signal. So I think it looks pretty good, right? So first class, back to your question, right? Can we ride it, continue to ride the history high, to ride it even higher? Well, I would say that we have broken this very key resistance level, right? I would say this would be the 200 psychological level right over here. That was where we were kept in December, touch, bearish signals came all the way down. And over the past 1 month, we broke the 200 and we stayed above the 200. 210 came in as a little bit of a resistance, but that has given way as well over the past 2 days as we just breached past that resistance and even the 220. So I think right now, right, what we could do is that we could see some support coming back, right? Hopefully around the 220, right? It's only 2 days, it's only 2 days, guys. So you can see quite a strong gap up. Now it's 232, right? So 220, I think if we can stay above it over the next 1 week, right? Maybe next week or next week, that could be what we call a horizontal support that came up. But more importantly, what we can do is that we can turn on the trailing support level. One of the very powerful features, all right, of the One Good Trend Pro indicator. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, pump. And let's see what it says, right? Are there any support that have came out in terms of it giving space for Alphabet to breathe, right? To breathe. You can see, right? This trailing support has been following, follow, up, flat, right? From 145, follow until $210. Does it make sense about? All right. So obviously we're still above it, right? I mean, there's still some space between the price and the trailing support. The horizontal support I've drawn at 220, and that one got no space. This one is just a horizontal support based on where we might see some bargain hunting coming back based on the lows that we have seen. But the trailing support actually provides the space, right? That's why it's slightly lower. So I think anything above 210 or 220 or 225, right? Let me just draw this zone for you. I think right over here, if I can just turn this to green in color, then we what we call a buy zone. Anything from 210 all the way to 225, right over here. There's potentially where some bargain hunting. If it does dip a little bit, that could be a very good zone in terms of timing or entry to ride it even more, to ride even more upside, right? So in terms of the question, right, is it possible to ride even more? Well, the answer is yes for me, quite simply because we got 2 bullish signals. The longer term trend, look at the red and blue line. There's another confirmation where the red is about to cross above the blue, right? And that will give the confirmation of the long-term trend turning up as well, right? So the green is still up, long-term trend turning up, bullish signals coming out. We're above the trailing support that is still following it as it moves up, right? So all signs are all pointing to more upside. So I think why not ride it more? I mean, it's about 45%, right? But can it be 60 or 70 or 80%? Why not? Maybe, right? I don't know, right? But why not ride some more till maybe we see some signs of weakness. Maybe we see a bearish like over here. Like over here, can you see, guys? Right over here, right? So doesn't mean right means right, and then just like, just buy and don't care about it. No, but let's say you buy, and then you see this bearish signal, pump, 2 bearish signal. All right, maybe it happened over here. And then maybe that can guide you to get out, to take some profit, right? Don't pour the way back down again. Does it make sense? All right, so that's what we could do to ride further till we see some signs of a reversal back down, till we see some signs of weakness or a bearish signal coming out. That's where you want to get up. But as of now, as of today, I think it still looks good. We are attempting to push even higher. Let it ride further. Why not ride more when there could still be more upside? And that's where you could make more profits as well. You see what I'm saying about? All right, so that would be for Alphabet, stock number 15. Okay, good. Let's go on. I would say one more round. I'll pass on the mic to Bervyn and Zee. All right, I think Bervyn and Zee can cover maybe last 2 more stocks, and then we'll go on to talk about the bonus stock for today. Right, so Bervyn, I'll pass on the mic to you. Go ahead.
Sure, thanks, Joey. All right, okay, so I think here we go. I think AK is asking about a very popular stock also that we some people are monitoring as well. I think it's PLTR. Let me just change the screen to my PLTR. Possible to buy PLTR now. I guess if you want a direct answer, it depends on whether you are a client of Joey's because if you're actually able to access the Asian hours so you say buy PLTR now, possible. Okay, but if you are looking at it just of the longer term, all right, okay, if you're still here, you want to actually just look at it, just zoom back a little bit. We can actually see that there is quite a few 1 GT bullish signals that actually led up to a very big up move. Say here to here, that's 117%. All right, another 1 GT bullish signal here. You know, get out here, that's another 30%. I think the most recent one, if we look at it, just get it here, from here to right around here when prices came down, that's another 70%. So all in all, I think PLTR in this year have shown very, very good up moves. All right, but we have a most recent 1 GT bearish signal actually came in after prices broke below that 170 support at that point of time. All right, that 170 support at that point of time. And you know, just now we were talking about a few stocks that are in a downtrend, waiting for it to flatten and then point up. But I think PLTR is a little bit different. It was previously in an uptrend, all right, the nearer term at least. Then it started to flatten out, and then it pointed down. So it works both ways as well. So the 20 days moving average can also flatten out and start to point down, right? So right now we have prices still respecting, or buyers still respecting that 150 level. Quite a few bullish candlesticks showing up close to that 150 level. And I think that nearer term resistance, I would place it right around that 160 level. I think that's where sellers have actually came in quite a few times over the past 2 weeks or so. That is a level that prices just can't really get above. Every time it gets close to that 160 level, sellers come in. 160, sellers come in. So we are pretty much in like a consolidation range between 150 to about the 160 $10 range. Not a big range right now. But if you look at that 100 days, 200 days moving average, great, it is still pointing up. So I think in the nearer term, if you want to look to buy PLTR, maybe you can wait for prices, or just be a little bit patient and wait for prices to break above 160 and hold above 160, not like this day right here where prices actually open above 160. Doesn't hold, come back down again. So you want prices to break, hold above, yes, and then I think that immediate or the next level to actually watch out for would be back to that 190 level. And definitely, in fact, you may get another 1 GT bullish signal. Let me just turn on that trailing support and resistance line. All right, so we can see that that trailing resistance line is right around that 180 level. Yep. So if prices hit towards that 190 level, breaking above that 182 trailing resistance, we'll then see another 1 GT bullish signal coming back in, and maybe this whole up phase, or this whole phase right here where prices consolidated for a bit before heading higher, this whole phase could then repeat itself and prices could in fact push higher, push past that $200 level. So I think AK, if you have access to the 1 GT Pro indicator, I think you can set up some alerts, that 1 GT buy or sell alert, just to get yourself known to new 1 GT bullish signals actually coming up, and maybe that run up or that momentum can come back into that counter once we see that 1 GT bullish signal. All right, okay, I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so I think I'll be covering the last stock before I pass the time back over to Joey to actually review to you guys what is our bonus stock for today. All right. So I think the last stock that I'll be covering for now would be Novo Nordisk, right? NVO. So Ginny is actually asking, is the current price of 56 a good entry? And I realized, right, for NVO, this particular stock, right, actually every few months, we will have someone who will be asking us, hey, is NVO a good price to buy? Last time, maybe about 70 plus, hey, is NVO a good time to buy? Then about 60 plus, is NVO a good time to buy? And I think today, Ginny is asking as well, whether 56 is actually a good price to actually buy in. So let's take a look at this stock. All right. So first thing first, if we just purely look at we don't look at anything else. Let me turn off everything. Okay, let me turn off everything, and we just look at the moving averages alone. Do you guys think that this stock is in an uptrend or is in a downtrend? Maybe you guys can let me know in the chat. Okay, you guys let me know in the chat. Is it in an uptrend or is it in a downtrend for this stock? Uptrend or downtrend? If you think it's an uptrend, you can type U. And if you think it's a downtrend, maybe you can type D, right? D for downtrend. Let me know in the chat if you guys think that if this stock, is it in an uptrend or is it in a downtrend for Novo Nordisk? Let's see. Let's see. EDK said downtrend. Ada said downtrend. Nets are good, say down. Yep. yeah, this stock, right, even if I turn off everything, I don't draw everything, right, you guys can also tell me that this stock is actually in a downtrend, right? Because why? The thing is that for this stock, what do we see in terms of the downtrend? We see the moving averages, which is the red and the blue line, right? Both blue and the red line are actually pointing down, and the blue is actually above the red line. All right, let me just pull back the comment by Jeannie. All right, okay. And it's very clear that the stock is actually in a downtrend and prices are essentially making what we call lower highs as well, right? Here, 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 here. It's just getting lower and lower, like, and this is actually not a stock that we even want to be thinking about buying, because when a stock is in a downtrend and you think about buying a stock in a downtrend, can it go even lower? Potentially, yes, right? It can go even lower because the downtrend is actually still pretty much intact. And if you buy at, last time maybe you were to ask maybe at $100, you buy $100, then you go down some more, you buy some more, you go down some more, you buy some more, and that's where we don't want to be getting our funds to be stuck like that, because that's where you'll be sitting on huge unrealized losses, right? If you keep averaging down, buying down some more, and that's not what we want, right? So first thing first, when we look at a stock, right, and we see that it is in a downtrend, usually we tend to avoid it, right? We tend to avoid it. We don't even move on to think about buying, even though you see like, I turn on the signal right now, I see a 1GT bullish signal here. Does it mean buy? No, right? That is why just now I mentioned that if we turn on the signals and we see a 1GT bullish signal appearing, it doesn't mean that we should immediately buy into a stock, because we want to take a look at a bigger context, take a look at a bigger picture. And right now the stock is in a downtrend. Even though we get a 1GT bullish signal, is it time to actually really buy into this stock? Not really lah, because we don't want to get caught in a downtrend lah, and prices can continue to go down even further. All right, and right now, as of last night, we saw that price close at about 56, right? And we can see that around this $60, in fact, is actually, I would say, one of the psychological immediate resistance as well. And I'm not sure, if prices can even break above this $60 lah. If it can break above, great. But is it time to actually get in? If it breaks above $60, I would think maybe that's where you can continue to be a bit more patient first. Because ideally, what we want to see, right, is we want to see something like that, right, in terms of the moving average. Like, it actually goes sideways and it shows some signs of all the moving averages being positive and pointing back up. Then you think about entering, rather than everything is pointing down, then you enter. The likelihood of it going down some more could be very high, right? So I think for now, for Novo Nordisk, right, this is something whereby you can continue to monitor first. Don't have to rush in just because you think that, right now, in September, is about 56 compared to somewhere in April, the price was about $70 over. It's cheap, right? It's cheap, and maybe I want to buy in now. But we don't buy into a stock just because it's cheap, because cheap can get even cheaper. Okay, so Jeannie, I hope that gives you some insights about Novo Nordisk. Don't just rush and think about buying just because you think it's cheap. All right, because we want to take a look at other factors as well, and to make sure that we want to be on the right side of the trend, to make sure that we are getting in on a good uptrending stock. All right. So that would be for Novo Nordisk, and I'll pass the time back over to Joey to actually share about our bonus stock for the day.
All right, thank you so much, Zee. All right, very good sharing right there, guys. What Zee has mentioned regarding a stock, right, whereby it is in a downtrend. In the longer term, it's going lower and lower, lower highs, lower lows. We try not to get in on stocks like this, even though in the short term it might just push up a bit, right? But it's just a little bit in the short term. Then sellers comes back and push it down even more. All right, and that's what we're seeing on stocks. They are going down and down and down. So that's one thing about the mindset. Our mindset that I actually share more in a webinar. As I say, right, today, guys, we don't have time to cover the whole entire strategy, the whole mindset, or maybe even how you can have access to the One Good Trend Pro indicator. So if you want to find a bit more, you can attend one of those free webinars. Our team can just place the link in the chat, right? So once you click on the link, right, you'll come to this page right over here. And that's where we have the next. Let me just show you, right? We have the next webinar, I think somewhere on the 30th of September, right? Not next week, not next week. Quite. We don't do this very often, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, right? So the next one will be 30th September. What happens is that you can go ahead to click on the link in the chat, come to this page, how to 3x your stock portfolio in 2025 with my 1GT framework. So that's where we'll dive into it even more. All right, so 2 hours plus, 30 September 2025, Tuesday. Check it out. We have what we call secret number 1, whereby why trend trading is one of the simplest methods to really master in 2025. How do we actually filter out the top stocks as well? All right, to the top 1% of stocks, to even know what to do with them, right? based on the 1GT Pro indicator. So we pull out the top 1% of stocks, we put it in a watch list, and we know when to buy and sell them. Does it make sense? All right, and that's like a double confirmation. So that's what I will share as well in this free webinar. So we're going to click on the link in the chat. You'll come to this page right over here. And that's where I look forward to share more with you on the entire one good trend strategy. And that's how you could have a tool like us, the 1GT Pro indicator, to know and guide you on how to, when to buy and when to sell as well. All right, Ken? Okay, now let's go ahead very quickly, guys. Let me know, guys, if you guys got value so far based on whatever we have shared so far. Type of V, guys, type of V for value. Let me know, especially if we have covered your stock, right? Let me know if you have got value so far. You got a bit of an idea on what to do on your stock. Type of V for value. Let me know. Type V for value. Let me know. So I acknowledge all of you for still being over here. Let's see, right? Let's see who is still over here today. How many of you got value, right? How many of you got value today? All right, you learned something about the stock, about your stock, about the strategy. Let me know, right? A, B, C, V. All right, thank you so much. Naps are good as well. V, Jeannie, V, Andy, thank you. Value, Ida, value. Dave, value as well. All right, value, awesome. Right, thank you so much, guys, for just engaging with us, typing the chat as well. All right, so it's not like just us talking as well. All right, really appreciate it. Let's see, Francis, value. Chong, thanks a lot. Value as well. Yeah, I think Chong, I covered your stock, right? So thanks for typing value. Awesome, right? V. Okay, so now that all of you got value, right? Very simple, as promised, right? We'll go ahead to dive into the stocks that you guys kind of like want to put in your watch list for potentially more upside. So after going through your stocks, well, me, Bervyn and Zee will each share with you one US stock each that you could potentially watch as well. All right, whereby we got some bullish signals, we'll talk about it, and you want to put in your watch list because I think that's where you could potentially write some profits as well, right? So the very first stock I will cover will be this company called Netflix. All right, the code is NFL. Netflix right over here. So I think Netflix, all of you, probably have Netflix, right, or Spotify and things like that, right? So Netflix and chill, right? So all of you probably have been using Netflix or subscribing to it. I do as well, right? Take some time to watch a movie on a Friday, Saturday night, right? Relax, right? But now let's take a look at this stock for Netflix, right? Is it a good stock to think about buying? Have we got some bearish or maybe bullish signals coming back over the past few weeks? Well, quite clearly, right? Okay, let me just go to turn off all the bullish and bearish signals. So it's very clean. And just to reiterate what we have shared over the past 2 hours plus based on the stocks that you guys asked, right? You can clearly see that Netflix has been in what we call a longer term uptrend. Does it make sense? Right? Just by looking at the red and the blue line, right? Red pointing up, blue pointing up, red above the blue. So longer term trend has been up, not since yesterday or last month. In fact, since very long already. I mean, since like last year, 2023, right? 2 years back, it has been in a longer term uptrend. So we want to buy stocks like this. We want to think about buying stocks like this, but not anyhow buy. I mean, we want to think about buying stocks like this. Firstly, right? They must be in a longer term uptrend. That's the first thing, right? But doesn't mean long-term uptrend means short is always up, right? Short can be down as well. I mean, you can see, right? Even here in February, we went down, right? Even somewhere in July also, we went down, right? So the short term can be down also, right? But the thing is here is that when the short term is down, then we just wait for it to turn up, all right? And when both is up, then even better. Let's make this one, all right? So you can see right now, well, we got the longer term trend has been up since last year, but the short term trend based on the green 20 days moving average line, that was going down, flat, that it is showing some signs of a reversal in terms of the green line starting to point up. Does it make sense about? All right. So there are some signs now, all right, of the short-term trend turning back up. Something like what we have seen in like March and April, right? You can see it was down a bit, right? Down, starting to turn up. Over here as well, down, starting to turn up, right? Previously got up, right? Let's see. So previously it was same thing, down, starting to turn up. And then there we go, right? Every time the short-term trend turn up, the rally happened. Right? I don't know whether now you go all the way up, but there's a potential for, more upside, especially with the short-term trend turning up right now. So that's just one confirmation, right? So it doesn't mean that the long-term trend turn up, the short-term trend turn up, and you just anyhow buy, right? Well, those are two pretty good confirmations. But if you want more conviction for a trade, as I say, the entire one good trend strategy that me, Bervyn and Zee, that we've been explaining to you, right? We kind of like, just touch a bit here and there. We didn't have time to cover what we call a 7-point checklist. So these are just 2 confirmations. We have 7 confirmations that we're going to look out for. If we get more confirmations, 4 or more, that's where it is what we call a high conviction kind of trade. So attend a free webinar, right? Attend a free webinar. Team, maybe you can just place the link in the chat again. I think it's like probably hidden all the way at the top, right? So attend a free webinar to learn more, right? But essentially, when we get more confirmations, like maybe a new bullish signal, let's turn it on, right? Let's take a look at the 1GT Pro indicator. Pump. Let's turn on and see what it says, right? So let's just take a look at it previously. Like for example, over here, right? We've got 2 bullish signals. There we go. 2 confirmations, right? Another bullish signal here. This one got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up. Now let's take a look at what has happened over the past 2 weeks. Well, we indeed have a new 1GT bullish signal actually coming out right over here, right? Consolidated sideways a little bit, but it seems like last night we are kind of like attempting, right, to break above the 1,250. Right now it's what 1,257. So not too bad. In fact, last night, I mean, if I can share with you another confirmation, that would be a pretty good bullish candlestick. This is what we call like a bullish Marubozu pattern, whereby it opens at the day low, it closes at the day high. Pretty bullish candlestick, I would say, right? Especially as it attempts to break the 1,250. Look at this, right? We're just above it by a bit last night, 1,257. Which is above 1,250. So a bullish candle came out as well. So that would be another confirmation of more upside. I think next target could be all the way to 1,350. So I think as long as you stay above that 1,002 or even 1,250, targets could be revised all the way up. It could be the start of the reversal, or it could push even higher until we see what we call a bearish signal coming out. Look at the previous case, right? So maybe now we're just like over here, like just starting. And previously, right, we got 2 bullish signal. Now it's only 1 now, right? But let's say we got 2 bullish signal, all the way up, 32% in 2 months. 32% in 2 months. I mean, you can take from here and would it be 32%? Would it be 40, 50%? I don't know. But that could be the start of more upside just because we got a couple of confirmations, right? Showing that it is beginning to push even higher. All right, so that is for the very first bonus stock for today, Netflix NFLX. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover his bonus stock for today. Bervyn, all yours.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's go with my bonus stock. I think today will actually be GE Aerospace. So I believe for those of you who have been consistently reading our newsletters that we send out, you will know that GE Aerospace is consistently one of those stocks that we consistently talk about, or is consistently in the spotlight. Why? Is because fundamentals are good. Company is growing, in fact, and is reflecting in the stock prices. As of yesterday, right? What I'm bringing up today is as of yesterday, we actually see prices break above that 280 target level, and then now it is holding above the 280 level. So this 280 level could be a new support level, right? Seeing if prices actually open above this level tonight, hold above this level tonight, yes, then we will agree that this could be the next leg in that longer term uptrend continuing. So if we just zoom back a little more, we can see that prices have in fact started to hit higher since January 2023. It came up from that $60 level all the way up to now. That's up to $280 level already. All right, so there's a couple of levels that we actually just want to watch out for. That 280 level, if given way, we want to have a next target towards $300 first. Right, that $300 psychological level would definitely be the next target to watch out for if prices can in fact hit higher. And the next one, if prices break below that 280 again, then back to that 260 level, which was previously a resistance, now turn into a support. All right, that could be the next level to watch out for as well. So that could be a level where you can get in on the dips if prices approach this level. Or you can also adopt like a more aggressive approach, buying upon a breakout, which is happening right now. All right. So if you want to actually turn on that 1GT bullish and bearish signals, you can see that 1GT bullish signal from July is still playing out. So from that point. Yes, it's been rather recent. So how much is that run up already? About 10%. So I think if we firmly hold above 280, potentially another one GT bullish signal could appear. The same up phase or the same phase could happen again. So just take that roughly, just put it up. We could see a similar movement, something like this, towards that $300 level is possible as well. All right, so I think very, very solid uptrend, very good longer term uptrend for GE Aerospace. It will continue to be on our watch list, and I think if you haven't added to your watch list yet, I think it's time to add to your watch list and perhaps even have some alerts closer to that $300 level as well. All right, so that is for my bonus stock GE Aerospace. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the last bonus stock for today.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so let me just quickly share my screen. And today, the bonus stock that I would like to share with you guys will be none other than Bell Tower, right? So if you guys have been joining us for the past few sessions, you know that Bell Tower has been one of the bonus stock that I've been sharing. And because it still looks good, right? It still looks good, so that's why it's definitely still in our watch list as well. All right. And because Bell Tower, right, for those of you maybe who are new here, maybe just a little bit info about Bell Tower, right? They actually it's a healthcare infrastructure company which focus on senior housing operations lah. So it's healthcare about senior, retirement homes, villages, and things like that. And healthcare is potentially, they can be benefiting from an aging population in general, and also with the fact that there is expectations of rate cuts, right? And that could also be enhancing like REITs appeal, through all the lower borrowing costs and more attractive yields lah. So that is also one of the reasons, apart from the technicals, which I'll be diving right in, that is also one of the reasons why this is still in our watch list. All right. So technically speaking, right, if we take a look at the chart, right, for Well Tower, in fact, actually in 2023, right, somewhere in April here, right, this is where the uptrend started to be really intact and it started forming, right? As you can see, the green line generally from 2023, somewhere in April, right, all the way to where we are at now, right? The green is above the red and it's above the blue, and all three of them are actually heading up. But of course, there are some periods, as you can see over here, short-term weakness, 20-day moving average pointing down, we get a 1GT bearish signal. Same thing happening in April, right, whereby Trump actually first announced his tariffs, right? And we also got a 1GT bearish signal. But generally, if we take a look at a bigger picture, even like 1 year, 2 years, right, the longer term uptrend is actually still intact, right? And right now, what do we see? Right now, we are seeing that the longer term, is it still intact? Yes, red and the blue line is still pointing up, and the green line is still above them, right? It's still above the longer term trend, but it seems like there is some, I wouldn't say weakness lah, but it is tapering out, right? It is not as steep as before, right? Comparing to here and here, it is tapering out and it's kind of like flattening sideways for a bit, right? But there's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with this, because the thing is that it is still looking good, right? It's still looking good. And if we are seeing that the 20 days moving average tapering out and heading sideways, right, potentially what we could also see is that short-term wise, there could be some consolidation happening, right? And if we know that the longer term uptrend is actually still intact, and we know that short term wise there could potentially be some consolidation, is it a good thing? Yes, I would think that is a good thing lah. Because why? If let's say we have a consolidation going on before it actually breaks out, right, even higher, that would make the entire uptrend more sustainable, and that is ideally what we want to observe in a very strong and good uptrending stock, right? Because the consolidation phase is what makes the uptrend stronger. All right. So for Well Tower right now, as of last night, we saw that it actually closed at 167, right? And I think some of the levels that I've actually talked about, right, over the past few times when we share about this bonus stock, they are actually still valid, right? So you can see that the 170, right, I would say $170 right over here would still be the resistance level, because this is where we started to see selling pressure returning, right? And over the past couple of days, that is what is actually happening again, right? And I think right now we are back at the resistance zone near the 170. So if you have gotten into this stock, somewhere early this year or maybe mid this year even, right, when it was actually consolidating during February to July, this period, there's nothing wrong for you to take profits, like I've mentioned right before. There's nothing wrong to take partial profits, half profits near the resistance level at around 170. And in terms of the immediate support level, right, I would say it seems like we have found some support level around the 160 to about 161, whereby we actually saw some buying interest returning, right? So potentially, if let's say the the 20 days moving average continues to head sideways like so, right? Then I think potentially what we can see, and hopefully we are able to see that, you know, prices can actually consolidate sideways like that before it actually breaks out and break above the 170 lah, right? 170. And then I think the upside targets that we are looking towards would be about 185, right? And how do we get this 185? Very simple. We base on a projection up from 170, and that is how we get a next upside target to look towards, right? And of course, you know, if price actually break above the 170, and you can see over here this green box that I've drawn over here, right? Provided it can break and hold above, not just break, but break and hold above 170, then do you think that this 170 will become a new higher support? Yes. And when the stock is actually in an uptrend, remember we said that we want to buy near a support zone, right? Then this is potentially where we could be looking at to position ourselves for entry as well. All right. So right now, as you can see, when I turn on the signals, there is three consecutive 1GT bullish signal. And let me just see, until here, it's about 16%, right? 16% to where we are at. And there is still no bearish signal yet. So I think this stock definitely still looks pretty good and pretty intact. It's definitely still in my watch list. And those are some of the levels that potentially you might want to set some alert and take note of as well. All right, especially if it can consolidate and break out even higher. That's where the uptrend will be even more sustainable. All right. So with that, that's all from me for Well Tower. I'll pass the time back over to Joey to perhaps close off today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, and there we have it, guys. There we have it. That is pretty much the three, all right, bonus stock that we like to share with you, all right, for today. And the first one would be Netflix, right? Netflix that I covered just now. Put in your watch list, more upside potentially coming in, all right. Bervyn covered on GE Aerospace, right? GE Aerospace as well. And finally, Z covered on Well Tower, right? So yeah, I think pretty much we've come to the end of today's session, guys. All right, and our apologies, guys. Our apologies if we have not covered your stocks. I know there's like more than 40. I think more than 40, 50 over stocks that we couldn't have the time to cover today. So in case we miss your stocks, right, our apologies. Each time each session, we always try to cover about 15, 16, maybe up to 17 stocks. So I think today we did about 17, 18 stocks. So join us next week. So next Friday, guys, next Friday we'll be back to the Singapore market. So today is US, right? Next Friday back to Singapore. So join us next Friday on our AMAS. All right, Ask Me Any Stock Singapore edition next Friday, 10:30 a.m. All right, we'll just place the link in the chat, and that's where you could check it out. Subscribe, hit the follow button so that when we go live, you will be alerted as well. And one thing I want to share is this, right? Today we are covering, we covered the US stocks. We covered the US stocks today. However, right, some of you might be actually asking about Singapore stocks, right? So Singapore, I think some of you are typing like Nam Chong and some other Singapore stock, but unfortunately today we cannot cover Singapore stocks. But I still want to take the time to share with you, right? In case you're not yet a client of mine in Philips Securities under me and Bervyn and Zee, right? Whereby we are kind of like top brokers in Philips Securities, and you're not getting our ideas, Singapore ideas daily for free, all right, by WhatsApp. Make sure you check it out, right? The link is right in the chat. Click on it, click on the link. Let me just go ahead to show you, right? So team can place the link in the chat. So once you click on the link, guys, that's where you can find out as to how and why you should become a client of mine in Philips Securities for free. Because as a client, right, you do not pay anything more, and that's where you get some of our top ideas, private training. Let me just show you this page right over here. You can see, right? So based on this page, right, stop guessing, right? Get exclusive SG stock ideas, expert insights from me daily by WhatsApp. Some of the things that we talk about as well. All right. And yeah, check out what some of our clients are saying as well. We have like hundreds of reviews, videos, and all that. Especially if you're not yet a client, you're not getting any service, ideas, brokers, ideas or from your own broker. I know nobody servicing you, nobody WhatsApp you, nobody call you, nobody care about you, right? Check it out. The link is right in the chat. You come to this page, and that's where you can find out more as to how you can become a client of mine in Philips Securities, right? For free at no additional charge to get some of top Singapore ideas. All right, so I think, yeah, that's it, guys. I think we have pretty much come to the end of today's session. We look forward to see you in our next Friday weekly AMAS session. And check it out as well in terms of some of the links we have placed, right? If you want to test drive my 1GT light indicator for free, the link is right above. We do have a light version, the simpler version that you can simply turn on the bullish and bearish signals. Check it out. Link is right in the chat above. Click on it and go ahead to lock in your trial. You get like more than $3,000 worth of trainings just to guide you, all right, on the indicator as well. All right, so I think that's it for today. All right, Bervyn, is there anything to share for today before we close off?
All right, just like to thank everyone for coming every Friday. You know, we love to see those familiar names. You know, come and say hi to us every Friday. I'm sure there's some value, and of course, like and share. You know, help us to actually reach out to more people as well. All right, so wishing everyone a great Friday and then a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.